Welcome to Cyberpunk Dark Skies. This is part one of Rippling Mirrors. So, for the month of January, we'll be telling a total of three Cyberpunk stories over the course of four episodes. There will be a game running on Fridays at 7 p.m., a game running on Sundays at 5 p.m., and a game running on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. This one is stylistically going to be a little bit more of a protect the important person, depending on how well Foxen rolls in the initial setup of the game. Um, that could be fun. But yeah, let me read the prologue here, and then we'll move into where they're at very quickly, as you'll notice. That said, here we go. 24th of October, 2077, and 54 Studio 7th floor, Kabuki. So, how does it feel being the face of Nicola? The interviewer said. He held his agent in one hand, the questions preloaded on his screen. Dolly felt sorry for him. He was so vapid and fake. His unimaginative mind probably took hours coming up with the most obvious questions. Doubtless, he was dressed up by the same people that put her in her boring as hell fit. Despite the rage that swelled in her head at this whole transactional experience that she'd once watched from the other side of a screen, she put on a smile and a soft giggle that most would figure was heartfelt. Oh, it's so great. It's my favorite drink, she replied, letting the facade take over until it was all over. She stepped briskly into the green room. The red-headed corpo sat there, legs and arms crossed. The lowly driver stood just near the door, his stupid hat on his head, and her new bodyguard followed her in, closing the door and standing in front of it. He was a big man, covered in flak armor from head to toe. She remembered their first meeting. He asked about her gun and blathered on about it for at least a minute, then gave a sign of approval. She knew she had taste, which reminded her. New line item for future interviews? I am not going to drink that shit live. It tastes like the girl on the can's ass, she said, moving over to the vanity and looking at herself in the mirror. Dolly Glass, rising pop star and now marketable brand face. Violetta smirked. Of course, we would not want you to vomit up the product you are trying to sell on the camera. The thought made Dolly's internal rage flare up again, but this time she let her neural light up her tattoos bright red. The lights distorted her face in the mirror, made her look like she felt. A creature that hated this whole damn city and its fucking fakeness. In the mirror behind her, Letty was answering her internal agent. Bayside, behind SSI office, downtown. X stood against the balustrading, looking crossed at Mina. She was shielding her cigarette from the wind and rain, an almost pointless effort. Still, the cigarette burned on despite the adversity.
We gotta stop meeting like this.
Ooh, we love it. He said whimsically. She glared and responded, Did you see the holocap I sent you? X nodded.
So what the fuck?
Was her line, actually, but X put his hands up in confusion, not sure how to respond.
What little info I was able to pull up on your lookalike has been scarce. Name's Christina Johnson. She was working for Arasaka before getting infected with the Reaper and put on defrag by Caitlin Linder. Reggie scooping her brains all over the cement is another wrinkle.
No shit. Fucking Cyber Psycho is still out there. Trauma nabbed him before the Biotechnica combat robots could zero him. She cut him off angrily. He shook his head.
Is that you or me?
That's you.
No, that change in his eyes, his attitude, his heartbeat dropped to calm the second he saw her. Back in SSI, we'd call assets like him sleepers. Respond to certain stimuli in a predetermined way after behavioral conditioning took hold. Come to think of it, Reggie did go off the streets after nuking that building in the Glen.
Nina flicked her her mostly wasted cigarette into the ocean. You're saying they made him shoot her? X nodded in reply.
Yeah, and based on the insanely close biometrics and face structure, I'm pretty sure he would have drawn on you too had he seen you.
The sound of a gun being shot rang out through the area. Not an uncommon sound in Night City, but it didn't seem to be from anywhere close. X saw the results of the bullet a moment or so before the sound registered in his ears. A massive bullet went exploding on Nina's chest, sending her small frame spiraling to the ground. X was down on her and behind the stone balustrade in a flash, virtuality up, scanning to see the shot came from across the water on the north side. Hell of a long shot, and well outside his deck's range. His phone came up, only one person he could think to call. Redtail's Pharmacy, Wellspring. Slow today. Rain usually made it so. Cotton tapped the counter. Boss was in the back cutting a new shipment they'd got in. The office Netta flared up with an incoming call. She picked it up. Hello? She asked in a much more casual way than the boss told her to answer. She didn't care. Probably a wrong number. Cotton, right? Came the voice from the other side, a woman's voice that meant fucking business. Before Cotton could answer, the voice continued in her big old bunny ear. We're coming in hot. Tell the fox I've got a patient and he better be ready. Hollow went click. Cotton stood there in amazement and opened the back room door. Boss, that Biotechnica lady is on her way with a patient. Redtail looked up at her in horror, his almost cartoonish lupine face now racking with concern. He was sitting at a desk covered in synth coke and the other materials he was cutting into it. She turned out of the door, her bunny tail wiggled a bit as the door closed. The roar of an engine outside. Then the front door opened. A cowboy in a business suit carrying in a woman with a massive gunshot wound in her chest, being assisted by the large Solo in his black armor. Cotton was annoyed until she saw the face of Dolly Glass walking in. That is where we begin. Inside of Redtail's Pharmacy. The individual who is hit is obviously in no good condition. The drive from the location where she was hit to this location took about 5 minutes due to Mooney's expert skill on the road. He did get a couple of scratches on the side of the vehicle when some asshole didn't understand how the rules of the road work. Luckily, Mooney wasn't too put off by it. Just a ding. That said, Redtail, the patient's hauled in. Where would you like them?
Get her to the back, now!
She's tossed onto the ripper dock seat in the back. Bear with me here. Handouts aren't doing the thing I want them to do. All that practice for nothing.
I believe in you.
She's tossed onto the ripper dock's chair, now visually in front of you, and the rest of you are kind of left outside. So Mooney and Crown, the two of you are entering into the space. So first things first, I'm going to describe the patient, then we're going to describe the doctor, and then I would like the two of you to describe your characters. So the patient is Nina. She is a team member on Letty, corporate exec's team via the teamwork role ability. She is about 5'3", blonde, dark set makeup, hair cut in kind of a bob, or mostly just bangs. She would be wearing something similar to the picture I just showed, with the exception of the vest is probably not on and she's not carrying a pistol. And her chest is pretty
gaping,
well fucked up. Yep. So, Redtail, go ahead and describe your character, and I will show him on the screen.
Redtail is an exotic. Very fun. He's a fox man.
You're coming in pretty quiet. Hold on a second.
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you. It's just you're really quiet.
Oh.
Let me go ahead.
Little mumbly.
Turn my shit up. Hold on.
Well, he's always mumbly. It's just I can usually hear him.
Talk louder, fox
Better.
man.
Talk louder. All right.
There you go.
There is a fox.
And back to the showing. Dramatis Personae, Punks, Redtail. Okay, go ahead. He's
Yeah, he's a
exotic.
fox, as you can see. He's a fox. He's a medic. He likes to make drugs and take drugs. That's why he was kicked out of the Biotechnica. beforehand. We like to experiment. I'm sorry.
I guess you could say there was a fox in the hen house.
Yes, I was fucking in. There you go.
A perfect description of what was happening. Anything else do you want to add, Foxen?
His partner is Cotton. She's an exotic also. She's a bunny girl.
What's she look
They,
like?
they met.
So I don't
I don't
have
know,
a handout for
picture
her,
of
but basically she's about 6 foot tall, due to the about 8-inch ears. She is wearing just kind of neo kitsch kind of fashion, and yeah, she's a bunny girl.
No, she's at work. She's wearing a skin tight black leather suit and a doctor's coat.
I mean, if that's what you want her to wear, you're the boss.
Show us the bunny girl.
I'm not gonna draw
Does
her,
she-
but I will eventually get a handout for her. Yeah.
Does she look like a certain bunny girl from a
her-
certain anime?
Her
Sure.
face is
We could do
very
that.
much like normal-ish, with the exception of whiskers and like a strange nose. But other than that, very human-shaped. And then yeah, the bunny ears replace
That makes
her.
a good point though. We should fix that later.
Anywho, that's Red Tail. So the two that are carrying Nina in, Mooney and a new character, Crown. So Mooney, tell us a bit about yourself. Any changes or alterations since last we saw you?
Mooney's been working out.
Oh yeah.
He's looking pretty big. Probably about I'd say 6 inches taller, and a hell of a lot wider.
Has two
He's-
legs.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. He's dressed a lot better than he was before. Before he looked very much like your typical nomad. He's even got a new hat to match. So it's a black vest over a black button-up T-shirt. He's got the sleeves rolled up. You can see the EMP threading on his arms. And just very slightly coming up past the collar of his shirt, before going up underneath his hair and into his hat. You can see where his neural where it's been installed. And then he's got two pistols on his hip. Yeah. Other than that, it's the same old Moody.
Yep, except he's dressed in a bit more of a corpo look. He's been dressed for the position that he's currently in. He is the.
Cutting out, John.
What's that?
You
You're
cut
cutting out.
How about now?
That's better.
Okay, weird. So, except he's dressed a little bit more neat due to the position that he's currently in. So, suited up. He's still allowed to wear the hat, although the hat is probably different. Probably a designer hat that's been added to his head, but it is still a cowboy hat. Okay, perfect. And then the other one?
Would Crown have his helmet off right now?
Your call.
I would say yeah. Why not? So you guys see a really big dude, covered head to toe in flak, aside from the headpiece. On his face, you see traditional Maori honorifics all throughout his face. He has exactly two weapons: one curved knife called a karambit, and what was the other gun called? A constitutional arms liberty or liberty.
Dixie.
Right. And then he has just one agent, like strapped to his chest, just to make fast calls. Aside from that, he's sort of confused right now, looking at the fox person, and the whisker girl.
So, a quick note on the phone positioning. It is a kind of high-end agent, so it's bulletproof. The reason why you keep it strapped to your chest, twofold. First off, it's connected to your flak suit in your ears, so you don't have any kind of neural links or anything. So for you to get the effect of hollow connection, you have to have a bit of wiring kind of on your head and side of your face. And then the phone also serves as a flashlight if you need it. Since
That's
you don't
pretty
have
cool.
optics, you can basically just kind of reach and tap, and then it'll turn the flashlight on.
That's pretty cool. Okay.
Body cam too.
You can also use it as a camera.
Mhm.
Okay. So back outside. So X, whether or not you rush in after them is your choice.
X will probably pace outside for a minute or two to try to get back to being calm and casual like he normally is, since watching X's X get shot in the chest right in front of him was probably a little more distressing than he normally lets on.
Okay. And just describe your character for us.
Usually wearing nice clothes in a very shabby and shaggy fashion. Fairly well built and kind of projects an air of confidence, but also very focused on his tech. Not a whole lot different than the last time most of the team saw him, although I imagine he fell off the grid for a little while amidst some of the chaos.
Yeah,
But
everything that
very
happened
much,
with the Reaper.
yeah, kind of a cross between just a slacker and a well-dressed kind of tech bro.
Yeah. And those who are more observant would notice that underneath everything, he's wearing a bodyweight suit that is very stereotypical of netrunners. Okay. And then also outside, we already mentioned her before. She was the redhead, and we've seen her before. She's a cunning devil. So let's tell us about Letty, and I'm assuming she's staying outside. She's not going into
Yeah, she
the
would be
blood
staying
room.
outside. Yeah.
Okay.
So Letty is a redheaded Italian lady. And she's dressed very like corpo chic, very well tailored suit, very high end. That is provided by the company, and yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and
She's very just corpo.
very much so. And she's kind of in a position of power right now. So I'm even with everything that's happening as it stands, like she's probably displaying an air of confidence. I mean,
Yeah, she's just chilling.
her kind of just bolstering now being a member of a very kind of prestigious department in
Mhm.
Biotechnica. And
This is
ha-
the job she's always wanted.
having to be a manager for Rising Star. Speaking of, so Dolly Glass, tell us a bit about your character. Obviously, the art as it stands is not at all what she looks like at current, because she has not had a chance to kind of shed the fit she was forced into. But besides that, a lot still the same. Go ahead, Stephanie.
Yeah. So she's kind of like I don't know, she looks very kind of like fashionable, chic lady, with light pink hair. And at current, she's dressed in kind of like very high end, like almost preppy designer fashion that you might see like a pop idol wearing. Um, and she just looks very uh, inconvenienced and annoyed.
Despite that, you do appear to have a fan present. So Cotton kind of recognized you off the cuff. So if you stepped into the pharmacy, she's kind of like doing that thing that fans are like to do. I'm sure everyone in this group has somebody they are a fan of that they were in close proximity to in real life, but may not have had the nerve to go up and talk to that individual. And she is very much doing that. Like she's trying to act very much important in her job behind a counter at a pharmacy, where someone brought a nearly dead person. But she is very much kind of like looking over at Dolly Glass and kind of like you know trying to make it look like she's not affected by her presence in the room.
Dolly would take note of that, just kind of being around other fans and things, and just immediately kind of see that somebody's wigging out a little bit. Letty, am I on the clock?
No.
No. You're not.
Was that in character, that question?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I love that. That's great.
Just turns around out the door. On the clock.
No, you're not.
All right, good to know.
You do not have to give a fuck. Okay. Meanwhile, in the interior of the back room, Redtail, very easy for you to kind of diagnose the situation. Gunshot wound to the chest. High caliber rifle. Looks like it might have been tech. Pistol, rail gun ammunition that was shot through her. Can't really get too much information on the scene of the crime because you're not there and you're not, familiar with what happened in the lead up. Not terribly important to what's current. So the main thing that you need to know is she's currently mortally wounded, and these are game terms that we're using. What that means is she needs to be stabilized. However, she's already stabilized and is unconscious. However, any kind of slight to her, or if the wound that she's suffering isn't dealt with, it could lead her to start bleeding again. It looks like whoever was in the back seat with her, probably Crown, applied first aid in a fashion that was sufficient to move her about 5 or so minutes. But yeah, you'd also notice that her lung is collapsed. It looks like her windpipe has been crushed. It looks like she has cracked ribs from the impact. So basically, like, her entire left side is just, it looked like someone, threw a hammer through her, is the best way to kind of describe it. Railguns don't fuck around.
I love railguns so much.
You probably are familiar with the railgun that hit her, by the way.
Yeah.
Ryan Metal.
What the fuck is that
Oh,
purple
it's
bitch
so
bringing
good.
me?
Yeah, that's probably what you're saying. So Cotton is basically useless as like a helper when it comes to like this kind of shit. But you are well aware that the object is no longer in her. It was a clean break through the back. Most of the damage is on the back. I don't know if you're familiar with impact wounds from firearms, but basically when it hits, it kind of causes the round to fracture. And the same is true with railguns. Kind of splinter through her and kind of like a starburst out the back. So what I would like for you to do is we're going to start repairing her. So she's already stabilized, but she needs to be stabilized proper. So I need you to make a either med tech check, or you can make a paramedics or a first aid check. Your choice. And depending on which one you choose will determine the DV. All right.
Hey.
So you get to work. You figure out the best kind of course of action, quick. Like on the scene, EMT style techniques, and basically you get to work in stopping the blood, patching, and using tools from your med tech tool bag to kind of quick patch as best you can. The wound is obviously grievous, and will take some time to repair or some scrap to repair. Yeah, once you've kind of got her what you think is stabilized and she's not bleeding anymore, and she seems to be kind of breathing regularly out of the lung that's still kind of present, still a bit of blood kind of draining out of her nose and mouth, as is to be expected, but you get her on oxygen and she's fine, right? You figure that the best course of action, seeing her neck as you're kind of working on her, tearing her outfit off and staunching, you would see that she does have a biomonitor attachment in her Neuralink connected to her systems. So you can basically slot into her and get a readout that's basically like if you've ever taken your car to a technician and they've like checked the car's computer. It's like that, but for people.
I'm gonna guess that the readout is just gonna say shit's fucked.
Could be a bunch of red errors.
Do you wish to put the check in.
Yeah, I'll jack in.
Okay, so what you are immediately concerned with when you do so is that the information that's brought up to you, a trained medtech's eyes, is very much suspicious. It seems like the monitor is giving out readings that are not what you are currently looking at, i.e., there doesn't appear to be any signs of decompression. There doesn't appear to be any signs of bleeding. The biomonitor is giving out readings that seem to make it seem like she's still alive and not wounded or a problem. You also notice a couple of other weird little details that you kind of go, huh. It seems that it's monitoring for cyberware, but you can see that there are cyberware present in hers because you kind of got like a good look right in there at the neural link. Like it's right there. You can see it. Like the hole put a big enough size chunk in her. You can kind of see the tech, right? You're pretty sure that it's not her. This biomonitor is giving off false like readings, and it appears to be direct connected to Biotechnica. So this is a corpo link. Like they monitor their employees, and somehow she was able to put in a biomonitor that was absolutely not correct and false. So with that, you have two options. You can attempt to make the biomonitor do the job it's supposed to and monitor the person that's in the chair, or you can do your own diagnostic if you have a med scanner.
I don't think I have a med scanner.
Do you have a medtech tool bag?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, since you don't have a scanner, I will say that it's an item that's kind of important for medtechs, and I know this is your first game, so just go ahead and type in med scanner in the compendium under gear, and just slap that bad boy on your sheet. Now, when you're using a medtech or a med scanner, it does give you benefits, +2 to your first aid and paramedic checks. When you're using it, you can use it in conjunction with like med tools.
Not finding it.
Oh. One second.
Ooh.
I'm stupid. I forgot there's no compendium sharing.
Typed it myself.
It's on your
Hey,
sheet.
John,
Yeah.
Oh,
I got a question.
Med scanner.
Did Mooney ever see the face of the not Nina?
Yeah.
No one.
You were there. You said you stood back.
Okay.
Letty, you saw it.
Oh, like the face? Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah,
Before
yeah,
Reggie
yeah,
put
yeah.
a shotgun in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody saw
Yeah.
her and was like,
I thought not ready. Mooney was further back though by the truck.
he wasn't like so far back he wouldn't have been able to see.
Oh, okay.
And I'm sure it's something that, I mean, would have Letty brought it up to Mooney or no?
I mean, he definitely would have noticed when he was carrying Nina in.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I'm like, wait a second.
I know
Wait a
this
minute.
face.
I've seen this face
I mean, if it came
before.
up, then yeah, she'd tell him. But if it didn't, maybe not.
More than fair.
Yeah, because he didn't think much of it because he hadn't met Nina before. So now that he's...
What I'll do is instead of taking responsibility, because referees never do that, I will give the decision to Elizabeth. Either she says there's the similarity between the two, or she says there's not. Her call.
Yeah, he can know.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, it's not something that she would like purposefully hide, like lie about.
That's fair. We can talk about it while he's trying to buff out that ding.
So, that's a great kind of pausing point. As you're basically getting your scanner out, it's covered with dust and cobwebs, because never fucking use this thing. You don't need it for cutting drugs. It's only for diagnosing and shit. You kind of go find it, and while you're doing that, and Mooney, you're kind of like, okay, I moved a body. I'm no good here, and that thought is kind of ringing in your head. You step back out into the front. Crown, you're still in there with Redtail. Your charge is outside, like your job is outside. So whether or not you want to stay back here with the med tech is up to you.
Yeah, no, I'm with my charge.
So both of the solos step out. Redtail. at the same
So
time.
when going outside, though, I'm gonna put on my helmet just in case.
Yep. Okay, Mooney, you walk out with the intention of kind of walking over to Letty and kind of starting a conversation, but you can see out of your eyes that your car where you parked, right outside in the parking spot, it looks like there's an NCPD officer walking over to it, looking at it, and you've been in Night City long enough to realize that it is a ticketable offense to park in a parking spot without paying the fare. You can see the little what are those things called? You know what I'm talking about.
The
You got-
meter.
the meters, yeah. You're getting meter mated right now.
Oh shit! It's parking wars.
Gonna boot your
Yeah.
car.
The real battle.
Yeah.
That's just toxic.
Hey,
Does parking
Hey,
wars still exist?
excuse me, officer. Is there a problem?
You go outside.
Yeah. He kind of like moves to sort of intercept him.
Yeah, you brisk outside. You see that the
Yeah.
officer in question is a woman, maybe in her 30s or 40s. She's probably 5'5", maybe weighs 120 pounds, like soaking wet in the rain. And
Oh, so he's like towering over her.
she's wearing the flak armor of NCPD officer. She's got a radio on her shoulder. As you're approaching her, you see her kind of like reach for the radio and say something in like cop code into the radio, and then kind of look at
You
you
get
and
a
says,
2319.
"Yeah, this is a corporate vehicle. Is that correct?"
Yes.
Okay, so you didn't pay the meter, so I'm just going to go ahead and bill this out to Biotechnica. Not a problem.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Well, we were kind of in a hurry.
Oh, understandable. No problem. About your way. It was no problem. And do you need a receipt or anything?
Yes.
Yeah, Letty's still out there.
Yeah. Sure. Give it to me.
Okay. She'll kind of reach her device kind of at you, and there's no paper discharge here. So when she does this, she's basically proffering a data stream. So you raise up your agent and collect, and so you now have a document on your phone that's basically stating that you were discharged 300 eddies for 1 hour. Normally,
I'm
this
just gonna-
only costs 10 eddies, but because you parked there without paying, that's what's happening.
That's a ripoff.
It's okay. I'm just gonna forward it to Biotechnica.
Yep.
I'll forward that to Letty.
Fucking
and let her
convenience
handle it.
fees. Goddamn.
It was a
Yeah,
very
sure.
subtle thing, but I was hoping someone would catch on. I sent the picture of it, and I made sure to like highlight the meter, like in the starting screen. Those who are watching, you can kind of see it like highlighted in the light. It was something so dumb.
It was
but
great.
hilarious. We're moving in. So Mooney, you're out there dealing with that. X, you're out pacing. Did you go outside to pace, or are you pacing inside the front?
I probably outside.
Okay. So you would have watched this exchange between Mooney and the meter maid. And then Crown, you came out. Letty, you're present. It looked like Mooney was going to talk to you and then zip past you. And Dolly, you're sitting there kind of ignoring this cotton lady. You do know that like you're done for the day, and what you were supposed to do was kind of go back to whatever you wanted to do. But this situation arose, so it's entirely up to you. Your character, really. This is obviously a bit of intrigue, some drama, but whether or not you want to deal with it is up to you. You also know that you came in the car, like you went to N54 News in the car that's there, so your clothes are in the back, like your casuals, so you can do what you like.
Yeah, so this is way more interesting than anything else I've done today. So I think basically what my plan would be is just sit in the lobby of this waiting room and light up a cigarette.
Okay.
And then after that, I'm going to go to the car and just change into my normal clothes.
Okay. Absolutely not a problem. You get into the back. As you can see in the picture that we displayed in the intro, the windows are tinted, so no issues there. From Looky Loos.
I'm gonna do the security thing where we stand next to the door they went into.
And the arms crossed, standing near the door. So yeah, Crown and you have. Let's focus on that. We got to make sure we can kind of understand the rapport here. Crown was hired by Letty to protect Dolly. Crown is not a talkative guy. Is that fair to say?
Oh yeah, 100%. Like he'll talk when action is going, but aside from that, he'll sort of just give a menacing stare to anyone that walks up on Dolly.
Be
But
too busy mean mugging.
again,
Yeah.
your first conversation was genuinely him, like when you were kind of in your street clothes, him looking at your Tamaria and kind of like really interested in this 2013, 2020 piece. So you got the gun kind of just because it looked nice and you were able to afford it. But he seems to kind of be kind of, that's a good gun. Like, what are you doing with this good gun?
It's a collector's item.
Mhm.
Dolly really appreciates that like realness, so I think she would kind of have a little bit of like a friendly rapport with him, even though he's not very like social.
And yeah, him being present around you, he very much kind of gives you your space, but at the same time, he's like right there on you all the time, as best he can be. So, like, during the interview, like just off of screen, he was right there, kind of arms crossed, just watching the doors. During the you moving into the green room, he was right behind you, watching each pass that you were walking in or near. And like when you entered into the space as we described, he kind of like entered in and stood right at the door behind you. So if anyone tried to break in, he'd be hit first. Even the only time he's let up in the entire time you've known him was when he was carrying Nina into that back room. And now he's kind of, as you're changing into your street gear, kind of outside of the car, arms crossed. The Mooney exchange probably happens somewhere about the same time. And then X and Letty, you're the only two left in the pharmacy room proper. What are you two
Mm.
wanting to do?
Oh, I thought Letty was in the car.
No. That's her team member.
Yeah.
Letty has
She
a
d-
lot of responsibilities.
Yeah, contrary to popular belief too, like she actually cares about Nina.
Yeah.
And plus, Letty is protected. Like, she has Mooney, she has Crown, fucking, even X. X is right there ready.
Yeah. Letty would be kind of not pacing, but probably like leaned up against a wall and like arms crossed and like hand tapping a bit where she would normally just be a little still.
Well, it was a subtle hint, but I want to make sure it's clear. There is very much a path for Letty to walk at current where it
Mm.
comes to information, and he's standing right there looking like a doopy, netrunner bastard. He was there. He was the one who called you. He is the one who let
Oh,
you know.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
you
That's
have
I
him
was
fair.
gonna
alone.
I was gonna initiate something here.
Okay,
So
sorry.
Okay.
I-
She might be mean mugging X. Let's go with
after
that.
after pacing quite a bit, I think he would finally turn to Letty and be like, "So, do you have any idea what the fuck is going on? People work with corpos and they get zeroed left and right, it seems like. And now here I am talking with you again, so am I next? She brought me some shard with a fucking clone, and then she gets blown in half.
I
And it's
believe that you're the one who was with her, though. I was not. You know more than I what went on.
I know corpos. You know more than nothing. Or you're the worst corpo I've ever worked for. And X being very combative and adversarial as opposed to casual and chill is a pretty far departure.
The
Yeah.
two of you are both perceptive enough to realize that Cotton is slowly kind of sidewalking along the back wall, and she kind of taps the door to the back room, and then just kind of slips in. And at this moment, the door shuts. Redtail, you kind of look over your shoulder, and there she is, and she's like, "They're mad. Don't fuck up." Back to the Letty and
Yeah.
X combo.
I do know a thing or two that has gone on. You said that she gave you a shard.
Yeah, with somebody that looked and had all the same markers as her.
Well, what I know is that she is a clone of sorts. That became evident after the last incident,
Real quick.
meaning
Is this
the
inside the waiting room?
This is inside
Yeah.
the waiting room. You guys are outside still. I'll kind of Mooney will probably be the first one back because his business was quick, And then the next ones back will be Dolly plus Crown, because she's changing her entire outfit.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm pretty sure, and again, Stephanie, correct me if I'm wrong here, but please just, you're getting out of the fucking fake makeup and clothes, and then you're putting on what you want, right? Like, it's not just I'm throwing on different clothes. It's literally a dress down, like, full build up to what you want to look like, right?
Yeah, so she's in like a totally different style. Like, so she's going just total makeover in this car, different hairstyle, different
It's
makeup.
it's not going to be a couple minutes. Is the main key. Like, for those of you who have ever lived with a woman,
Do surgery before she comes
she's,
out.
It takes a while. It
she's
takes a
probably.
while.
I mean, Nina's gonna grow old by the time that's. No, I'm joking. But no, she's probably much like more capable in kind of changing her persona and looking how she wants to look than most, due to practice, because she has to kind of do it over and over again. So it's not going to be like aeons. It'll probably be like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
She's taking her time, and she's like enjoying her cigarette at the
Yeah.
same time. So like,
Probably, using it to light another one. Again, you
Yeah.
can smoke in the car or whatever.
God.
And I would say, because it's a corpo car, it probably has like a wine decanter like in it that will like fill up glass. So again, you have some luxuries as well. But back inside, continue fighting.
I had mentioned the last incident, meaning the stuff that happened with the Patreon game.
Yeah. While you're thinking on that and also mentioning it, I need you to go ahead and make me a human perception roll. First roll of the night?
Hey,
No, it's not.
let's
Second roll of
go.
the night. Paramedic was the first. Good job.
Oh,
on
yeah,
that
that's
20,
right.
By the way,
Let's.
Red Tail.
It's
yay
hard
for
to follow.
second.
Oh, let's see if I can follow it. Human perception.
Mm-hmm. Hell yeah.
Hey!
Hell
Hell yeah,
that's
let's
23 is the total.
go.
So, something very interesting that X mentioned in your conversation is that he has a shard that seems to have information regarding that night. The only way he has that is
Is
one
because
of
of Nina.
3 ways. It was pulled off of somebody else, and Mooney didn't have a neural link to record anything at that time, so it wasn't off of him. It was pulled off of you, or it was pulled off of either Finlay or her or the Christina's corpse. And the most likely of those of the 3 with that role is that information was pulled from you, so you were being monitored while you were engaging with Finlay and the biodrone.
That would make sense though, because Biotechnica.
Yeah.
Have you looked at the shard?
Yeah, there wasn't a lot on there other than confirming it was a lot like her.
I mean, it's a little bit more than a lot like her. It was her.
The name for the other her was Christina. Something about working with Arasaka.
These are
Never clean getting
details
involved.
that you don't have, Letty.
Well, Christina does sound very close to Nina. Almost twins, working for a corporal as well. Did it have any information on her job?
No, not all that much.
Well, you know as much as I know then.
I mean, part of it's probably fair since she got one of my previous corpo handlers zeroed, but I was going to be the one to get revenge on her, if anything, not this way.
Well, she is not dead yet, so there's still time.
It wasn't David's fault.
Whose? Danny?
Yeah. It was his fault.
Someone
It's always
reading between
Dan's
the
fault.
lines.
I blame you, chum bucket!
Somebody reading between the lines. We'd love to see that. But about that time, Mooney walks in I'm going to cut there, though, from the front of the office and go back to the back. Redtail, after doing scanning, diagnosing, kind of tracking and such, you come to realize three things that are very interesting for you. First off, you are familiar with surgery to a slight degree. I think you have one rank in it, right? So you know that corporations, Biotechnica, Trauma Team, some people who deal in kind of like, the matters of flesh, are capable of cloning body parts, using cultures from the host to create duplicates, and then kind of merging them with the person. And again, Biotechnica is very capable of kind of
He's
Yeah.
made from biotechnical
whole
stuff.
thing,
so-
right? And so they're also able of kind of creating things that are not typical, like but you are aware, like your blood type, right? And you have these kind of forms, but they're still functional in the human sense, right? You've been kind of crafted as this very kind of like ab-human being, an exotic. This woman is very much different. You're familiar with seeing people get clone parts, like someone gets their leg blown off, and they get a leg put on. Someone gets their arm blown off, what have you, and or someone loses their kidney, right? They get a new kidney. It's clone material. This woman appears to be made.
People in the jars. Back up.
Right. This one appears to be made entirely out of clone material. So much to the point that a very rare blood type, which is kind of put into base clone material so that they can kind of like augment it to match a person. And then over time, it kind of matches the blood type of the person. This person's entire blood type is this kind of null blood type, this Z blood type, which is basically a blood type that once it kind of acclimates to a body, it turns into whatever blood type they are, but she has no body. She is a fully grown body, so she still has this weird Z blood type. That's
No
first.
blood transfusion today.
Well, you'd know that transfusing any blood into her is fine. Whatever you have on deck, whoever wants to loan here, if it's needed, you got it. And it does look like that's actually something that's gonna probably come up. Second thing you notice is that the cyberware that she has in her, it definitely does not look like it's standard issue. It definitely looks like it's very high grade, and what you keep seeing is that it's Militech. You come about to the Neuralink, and you can see that there appears to be something connected to it, and the marker on it you don't recognize, but it's a symbol that's similar to the Militech M logo, except that it's an L in the center. Then, the last thing that you kind of notice is that she's definitely fucked up. She's going to probably be spending about 3 or 4 days down before she can even speak or anything again. This is going to be a recovery matter that's going to need, like, a facility. So your suggestion, not knowing anything about it, is take her to a hospital. She needs to go to a hospital. Otherwise, her course of care is going to be very difficult. I mean, you could do it, but, like, you're not a facility. This is a clinic.
Well, I'm my agent then.
It's hardly a clinic. I mean, honestly, the last time you probably had someone on this chair and we're doing, like, something surgical was probably, like, months ago, if not longer.
Again, John.
John, you're cutting in and out.
Am I cutting in and out?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're cutting in and out. And
That's
then there's
weird.
that little, like, buzzy sound.
Are you getting a text message?
No, I wish. Nobody texted me.
Aww.
I'm
Oh,
not
okay,
drinking.
okay. Let's check. I did not get a text message. Am I coming in okay now?
Yeah.
Try to
Yes.
do a whole sentence.
Okay. You hear a buzzy sound?
Yeah.
Occasionally.
Oh, I see what it is. Hold on.
Is it the soupy baby?
Oh, I wish it was a baby cat. I would gobble him up,
Nom, 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 nom.
and then he died. Oh no! I ate the cat.
Honey, I ate the cat.
Okay. No. No. Yeah. Shut up. We doing better?
Probably.
Still
Yeah, it sounds. I haven't heard a buzz.
Okay. I'm pretty sure it was my work laptop.
Oh, okay.
Okay. We're away from that now. And moving on. So, yeah. You're pretty sure that you're going to need someone to drop some blood, though, Redtail. So that's probably your next conversation that you'll need to broach to the others. But back to the front room. Mooney, you walk in after dealing with the parking ticket.
It's doing it again.
Oh my goodness.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Get it together,
Yeah,
jeez.
while he fixes that,
It's been since last year. He hasn't streamed all year. Give him a
It's
break.
been a year.
Well, while he's fixing that, Redtail's gonna turn back to Cotton. Like, oi.
It's like a
blood
telegraph noise.
and this girl's gonna need a hospital. Get my friend from Meatwagon on the phone.
Oh, okay. She'll walk outside and she's moving over to the front desk. It's not like a phone that she's picking up. You'll just see her eyes light up with blue. Letty and Mooney. Are you kidding me?
Jesus.
Just having all the problems. So it would be Letty, Mooney, and X. You see Cotton come out. The door's left open. You can kind of see into the room, and it looks like it's a more stable situation than you left Nina in. But she goes over to like a part of the counter, and her eyes flare blue as if she's about to make a phone call.
John, turn your noise suppression off.
It is on.
No, off.
Oh, it isn't on at all.
Oh, okay.
How about now? Why'd that shut off?
I don't know.
Yeah, I kept hearing it like from time to time.
As
It's not
soon
good
as
buzzing anymore.
It's
as soon
on.
as X sees eyes light up like there's gonna be a phone call, he's gonna shoot Letty a glance. Do we want more people involved in this?
Yeah, hey Jerry. Yeah, it's Cotton. I'm wondering, can you send over a paddy wagon over to the pharmacy? She says that out loud. It's not like you can't hear her saying it.
You're muted.
Oh,
No,
Is
you
there-
aren't. She was.
No. Sorry, it was me. Is there an issue? She'll.
oh, she kind of like holds her head to the side. Please hold. And she kind of looks at you. What's that?
Is there an issue
Oh,
back there?
I'm just doing what the boss told me to do. Said to get a ambulance over here.
He cannot fix her here.
I don't know.
This. The door's still open, right? So
Yeah,
he
you
hears
can
her
hear-
say this. I've stabilized her.
The door shuts because they automatically close.
I stabilized her. Ching.
So
I've
Mooney's
done it!
just,
Did good job.
Mooney's just
Slam
kinda
door.
standing in the doorway, like eavesdropping on the exchange. You guys like hands on his hips.
Yeah, keep in
He's
mind.
like looking back
it is-
and forth between Cotton and Letty, and then he just like pulls out his agent and he like forwards the ticket he just got to Letty, and then just like puts his agent back in his pocket.
She lets it flash on the screen, then turns back to Cotton. So she needs to go to a hospital then?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
no.
what the
We're
boss.
going out to the door now.
That's what the boss said. And then yeah, Redtail pops out, and then X.
Like-
You're overhearing all this, so just keep that in mind too.
I fixed it, but this girl got destroyed. She is.
I-
Her ribs are gone. One of her lungs is collapsed. Her trachea is damaged. There's only so much I can do.
Well,
Her whole back got blown out.
She's also going to need a blood transfusion. Any takers.
Letty, look, I don't have all the pieces. I just have what little info we got. But my assumption is that if she goes to a hospital, neither of us are ever going to see her again.
I agree, and I would may cause
Yeah.
even more issues.
Cancel it for now. I'll call you back.
Yeah. Would Letty know of any? Are there like Biotechnica specific hospitals or?
No, Biotechnica is not in the business of
Yeah,
hospital
just
care.
supplying.
Yeah, here's
Rio
a
Meat Wagon deals with clone tissue all the time.
well, yeah,
Look,
that's a solid point. So he mentions REO Meatwagon, which again is a corporation that is not high on anybody's radar. Most people who deal with hospital stuff, they deal with trauma team. Can anybody think why that might be a problem?
because of
I can
Reggie
think of
getting, yeah,
so many fucking reasons why.
Right. So at the end of the Patreon game,
that's
those who aren't aware, it came down to a firefight between Letty and Letty's combat drones coming down in an AV to pull her the asset
What?
out.
Doing it again.
Oh, sorry. How about now?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're fine. It's
So combat drones in an AV dropping out to rescue Letty and pull her the asset out of a situation that turns sour very
no.
quick.
What the
What
fuck?
the fuck?
Every other word.
It doesn't want you to
Amy.
say Letty's whatever you're saying.
Okay.
Yeah, you're giving out corporate secrets, dude.
To be sure, I just want to check something. Am I getting the same
Censored.
problem? Jijo, I know you're watching. Can you just? I sound like a fax machine. That's what you said.
The buzzing, I think, is what they mean.
Oh.
Guys,
Yeah.
it's just
I think it's
redacted
whenever-
You could hear me. They couldn't.
Oh, so it's Discord again.
Okay. So good.
I'm gonna blame Tabletop Simulator.
All right. What we're gonna do is we're gonna switch over to Zoom. We're gonna do it
Okay.
again. So
Switch to Zoom audio.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah. Great. Okay. So you can hear me okay now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. So what I was saying is, anybody have a reason why trauma team would not be a good idea?
I
Several
have
people said
so
Yeah.
many reasons.
Reggie.
yeah.
And I was saying at the end of the Patreon game, for those who weren't here, new folks and people who weren't in it, it came down to a firefight between Trauma Team and Biotechnica. Biotechnica were trying to recall the asset, pull her out, being Letty. She called in a favor, and combat drones were dropped on the scene from an AV, and she was effectively carted out. Trauma Team came down on the scene for reasons unknown after Reggie, a former Trauma Team or apparently still insurgent Trauma Team agent, blew Christina, the biodrone, this girl they had in a body bag who was basically being kept alive by cryo and meddechery to make sure that the Reaper program inside of her, which is an AI that kind of takes over people and uses them as puppets, to make sure that it was locked in there and contained so they could get a copy of the Reaper out of it. But when Reggie saw her, he blew her face off for some reason. Trauma Team came down on the scene and recalled Reggie from the scene. So there were two AVs with troopers, and they were both pulling those members off of the fight. Leaving Finlay, her contact, dead, and also this person they'd only never met because she was in a body bag the whole time. I believe they saw her get thrown out of a window by a woman that they had murdered by a doctor later.
No.
Certain
She-
people
It was a medical ish. She was good as dead already.
Buzzard has old hands. He has old hands. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a little shaky with the knife, and it happens.
He's only got the one chrome hand.
Yeah.
Point is that happened. So Trauma Team is not a good place for this woman.
Yeah.
Redtail is not suggesting Trauma Team. He's suggesting REO Meatwagon. REO Meatwagon is basically a bargain barrel ambulance service that used to be bigger on the scene, and they would try and cut in on Trauma Team's business, going to emergency scenes and pulling people into their ambulances, saving them, and then charging them a shit ton of money. but not as much as trauma. But they kind of lost favor in like the 60s, 50s because they really weren't doing a great job. And there was a lot of stuff that wasn't being handled by them because their facilities couldn't handle it, mainly like the avian flus of the 60s and 50s. So their office building is still in Night City, and their hospital is still in Night City. It's just basically a decrepit shell of what it used to be. But they still operate.
Well, if it's that and not trauma team.
I just
You said-
flashbang to Meatwagon.
You said you needed blood, right? I'll do that. You figure out what's going to be a safe way to deal with this.
I gotta put her back in the car.
Well, they have ambulances. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just not trauma team.
yeah, they have meat
Fighting on
wagons.
AV, they're not fancy,
Meat
but
wagons. Yeah.
It is a truck.
it's a truck equipped with medical equipment. That's all you need to know.
And the hospital, it would be going to their hospital?
Yeah.
Okay. Letty would agree to that.
Okay. So, if you let Cotton kind of call back up, X, you say you're willing to give blood. So you go in the back with Redtail, who kind of sets up the transfusion. Pretty simple operation. But about this time, once you kind of settled on the REO and all that, Dolly would be entering back in the outfit that she chose, which is not the preppy outfit. She looks more like the picture that we showed. The door's still open at this point. Dolly, when you enter in, you can see that X is going in the back, and it looks like they're connecting her to the girl with her chest blown out. Cotton's back to kind of, fan glazing or gazing, and Mooney and Letty are probably staying in the front.
Brown is mean mugging Cotton.
She's gonna just kind of walk up besides Letty and Mooney and light another cigarette and just say, "What the hell's going on here?"
Well, my IT, my assistant, my IT girl, she is out of commission, and we are trying to make sure that she stays alive, much like we need to keep her alive.
I see, business shit. She just takes a long drag on her cigarette.
Precisely. Don't worry, everything is under control.
What's up with that? And she gestures towards the bunny girl.
I mean, what's up with that? She says. You've never met an exotic?
Not one that looks like you.
Yeah, well, it's kind of an older model. So, yeah, I mean, not a lot of people do it. Most are kind of fans of, cooler stuff, more vicious stuff. But, yeah, I mean, it's cool. I can hear when the boss is, what is your deal today, buddy? I can hear when the boss is yelling about something in the back.
Mooney's gonna take after Dolly's example and light up a cigarette, kind of lean against the wall so he can kind of look out the window to keep an eye on the car, but also keep an eye on what's going on inside.
Yeah, kind of doing your own. She's talking to Cotton, doing your own thing. That's cool. And she just blows her smoke in her direction.
She does a little petite kind of demure cough and kind of looks crestfallen now that you're kind of
Her ears droop.
yeah, her ears droop. She's just kind of put off by this look, and she seems to just kind of go back to her work.
This is definitely very different from how she
perceives
speaks,
you, yeah.
and yeah.
Never meet your heroes.
Never meet your
Meet
hero.
your heroes.
You can be nicer. to fans. They perceive what is shown on camera.
Letty, are you gonna pay me? I can put the act back on, but you said I was off the clock.
I'm not meaning that you have to put the act on. I just mean not give them a roast. We could set that up if that is something that you're interested in doing. People do watch those on TV.
I'll think about it.
So, if you're just waiting it out for the meat wagon, Tom X is kind of exfilled of some blood, and she takes to it. She seems to be kind of more steady, and it looks like there's quite a bit of aperture that Redtail was able to kind of put in the hole to kind of like close the gap, and a lot of bandaging has been kind of put in place as well. But yeah, the meat wagon pulls up kind of next to Mooney's car. It is a very much old style ambulance. On the side, you can see the REO meat wagon cross, which looks like it very much resembles older trauma team logos. So people can't really tell the difference.
Legally distinct.
Legally
but
distinct.
similar.
Legally
but
distinct.
similar. Yeah, but it basically Trauma Team used to have two T's that were kind of shaped like crosses. RAO Meat Wagons is like one cross, but it looks like it's made out of two. So yeah, it pulls up, and you see a couple of guys just pop out wearing kind of like flak armor, colored very similarly to old Trauma Team colors, like the blue and gold, and they walk out and kind of move over to the pharmacy, entering in. One of them kind of nods to Cotton, and she says, "Hey, Jerry, in the back, might need a stretcher." And the two kind of just mosey on towards the back. You let him in, Redtail?
Little man.
Yep. They'll load up Nina if nobody stops them and put them on a stretcher. They kind of, pulled off a pack they had coming in, and they wheel her out.
X kind of watches them carefully to see if anything
Jerry kind of
is awry.
stops as his companion kind of pushes the cart outside and kind of looks around and says, "Any ride-alongs? It's only 100 eddies. It's only 100 eddies extra."
I will go with you.
All right, 100 eddies per person, he says as he looks to everybody.
Well, I'm the doctor. I'm going.
Yeah, of course, you're free.
I want to see what's going on.
You got the cash.
Y'all got a car.
Yeah, like Mooney's already like getting in the driver's seat.
Like,
Oh.
Get your own
Yeah.
car.
I guess I'll
We
ride.
all ride in the
Take-
ambulance. No solicitors.
I've never ridden in an ambulance before.
You don't want to start.
That's probably a good thing.
So Dolly wants to ride in the ambulance. So Letty, do you want to tell her to get in the car, or do you want to pay the 100 and let her ride along?
I was trying to say, how about you take the car with Mooney and Crown and meet us there?
Fine. And she just starts walking towards it. She just like throws her cigarette on the ground and stomps it out.
Inside of the pharmacy. She doesn't
Yeah.
make it.
X is gonna send a silent message to Letty's agent asking, "You're really comfortable trusting her with Buck-a Slice Trauma Team?"
Better than trusting
Nice
her.
trauma team.
Real trauma team is what she will write back.
X will raise a hand and say, "I'll ride along too."
Okay. So you wire over the 100, those of you who aren't Redtail, and get in the back. Pretty sizable little buggy you hop into. Mooney, you load up Crown and Dolly, and follow the ambulance. Little ambulance chasing here. You, in the back, see that Jerry, the larger, more portly gentleman of the two, and his kind of more scrawny, kind of like Weasley-looking companion, are kind of looking over the whole situation. They attach her to certain devices, basically breathing assist machinery, and also they're just kind of making sure that she's stable for the drive. They kind of knock on the back wall of the cab, and the wagon starts moving. Driving across the city, it looks like they're headed straight for Corpo Plaza, and they'll probably make their way to Ario Meatwagon's location by kind of zipping out and across to Vista Del Rey, and then a slight hop across the canal into Kabuki.
Since X is currently very paranoid about who might be involved in all this, I think he would passively be pinging architecture off the ambulance to see if there's anybody outside of this trying to listen in, if he can identify any of that or track it.
So the first thing you'll notice is that like ambulances typically will have their own net architecture, which kind of connects with corporations for trauma team.
Mm-hmm.
This is literally just a car.
Okay.
This is a car, and the devices they have in the back are literally old-timey, like, digital display devices that they punch stuff into to get them working. Jerry is probably in his 50s, 60s, so he was definitely around, during the time of the Red, probably when he started on as a young, eager-eyed Ario Meatwagon EMT, and that died fast. And the other guy looks stoogishly like, in his like middle, agedness, and he it seems to give less of a fuck than Jerry does about the person on the bed. They don't seem to give a shit. You're pretty sure you catch the spindly looking guy texting, but if you kind of swipe over to him with virtuality in check, like you just see that he seems to be sexting some girl or guy or NB. You're not sure, but after a fashion, if you do pay attention and keep on, you'll realize that it's a girl that he's sexting, and she appears to be kind of up in Watson, and he's really annoyed that he has to be out here still working, and the pay is shit. But that doesn't cut into their time talking about licking and caressing and what have you. Very much not working, focused on something entirely different. The romance.
John, can I put 4 into threat detection for my combat awareness?
Absolutely.
All right, cool.
X will mumble something about, Jesus Christ, at least we don't have to worry about anything getting hacked.
Right. The agents are definitely like a solid 5 years old. Like they're not, up to date. Like I would say, like in our current
these motherfuckers and their Blackberries.
They're on Windows. They're on Windows phones. Is basically the best way
God.
to describe.
Windows.
Yeah.
I have a song to share with people later.
Oh God.
We'll talk about that later then. But they make it to Ario Meatwagon's location. When you pull into the parking lot, you see that there does appear to be a pathway where the EMTs are supposed to go. And it looks like it's supposed to descend down into the building. Like there's a ramp that leads into where you assume like the ER is. But that has blockades kind of set up outside, like stone, traffic divides, and also metal railing. And you can see that inside of the ramp, the door is closed, metal door that drops down, and the entirety of the lower portion of the ramp is filled with trash. So instead of pulling into the ER location, like down where it would be like neat and easy to go, they just pull up to the blockades, pop out the back, pull the cart with Nina on it, and then side swipe her alongside the building, putting her up onto the curb, like having to lift her up onto the curb. There's not a ramp or anything. They just lift her and hop her, like do a little curb jump, like back when you were skateboarding when you were a kid. But it's a whole ass human body on a fucking cart, and they put her like towards the front door. They're not going in a side door. They're going in the front door with a person. Mooney, you pull up to the place. Right outside, you see the parking garage. You pull in. Plenty of park spaces. You see there's like 3 more of these EMT trucks, all kind of varying models, but mostly all kind of the same fleet of designs. You see one that looks like it's been burnt out. Like literally it's just the shell of an ambulance. And you can see that there's a sleeping bag in the back. And it looks like there might be kind of like a backpack or something back there. Whether the sleeping bag has a person in it or not, you're not sure. But yeah, this parking lot looks like it's a hot mess. The one thing that stands out for you, the security detail, is that there is a truck, like a supply truck outside, and the logo on the side says Zeta Tech. But as a security professional, you're very able to understand that this is not a truck that parked here intentionally. This was a truck that was commandeered and brought here illegally. And the way you can tell that is it looks like there are hook marks in the cab. There are broken parts. There's a dead guy in the passenger seat. It very much
It's a
left
very
him there.
subtle clue.
Just left him there.
yeah, he's probably been in there for a few days. But
Maybe you should have led with the dead guy in the passenger seat instead of the
Yeah.
hook marks.
The hook marks.
It
It was,
looks
oh yeah,
like-
there's a dead guy.
It looks like the operators for Ario Meat Wagon needed supplies, and the best way to acquire supplies is steal them from other people. Zeta Tech is very much in the business of producing cyberware and cybernetic replacements for certain things, lungs, arms, legs, etc.
So before we get out, Kai is gonna talk to Miss Glass. Miss Glass, stay by me. We don't want anything to happen here.
You got it.
I appreciate the New Zealand accent.
I very appreciate it as well. For those of you who didn't notice the Maori tattoos, yeah, he is very much
I have no idea. I watched like 18 videos on trying to fucking copy. Oh,
Just don't say shrimp on the Barbie. They
Shrimp
know,
on the
Yeah,
Barbie.
they know
That's
that's
Australian.
there's gonna be a point where he's gonna say Deke, and it's either gonna be Deke or Deke. You never know.
Does that mean duck? What did he say?
I don't know.
Deke, what?
In the middle of a firefight.
Two things Mooney wants to check out. One is I'm assuming this parking area is like well illuminated.
No.
Oh, not very well.
Yeah, that's why I only mentioned the security risk to the mount or to Crown.
I got you. So when he gets out of the car, he's gonna check whatever like dings or scuffs they accumulated.
Not much. So basically, on the driver's side of the vehicle, there's like a couple of lines of kind of like, the black paint's been kind of torn, and it's kind of like a silvery kind of marking. They're hardly noticeable, especially with it raining as it is, but could definitely be buffed out, out of shop, no problem.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing he'd probably need like some
You need some tools.
like a dedicated workspace to take care of.
And what was the other thing you were wanting to check in?
The dead guy in the passenger seat
You
of
don't even
the
see
Zeta
it.
Tech.
Again, he threat detected. This is very much a thing
Oh,
that
okay.
he catches on and
Got you.
noticed it.
Okay,
Yeah.
then yeah, he
You-
just assesses the car and
To you, it's a rainy night, or it's a rainy afternoon in the middle of a weird parking lot in Kabuki. You're just on the water, so like the parking lot, if you kind of like the way you came in, it's kind of a walled space, right? But the parking lot, like it looked like it had a parking attendant, with the little door thing. That's just a box. The arm's long since been driven through. And just outside of that, it's literally the canal. Like, if you look at the map, I'll go ahead and zoom us in for those watching. Ario Meat Wagon is right there in Kabuki. This thoroughfare here kind of leads from Kabuki to Watson proper and kind of leads out of the city towards North Oak. So it's kind of like right there in the middle of some of the top or the north side action. But yeah, the building that you're looking at, and again, this would probably be more for, this is something that Redtail would know, just having been here several times. But it's definitely something that threat detection you kind of catch on to. The building's probably about 50 stories tall, right? Most of the buildings in Night City are pretty massive. Comparatively, it's not huge, but it's still a pretty massive fucking building, right? It looks like the building has been subdivided. So there's one half, the back end of it, that appears to have been turned into a hotel, and then there is the leftovers of what REO Meatwagon has been able to keep in its transactional agreements. And the divide is very sharply distinct. There's actually a portion of it that looks like they kind of cut out some of the floors in between and created like bridges between the two to kind of connect the two buildings. And Redtail, you would know that the hotel on the opposite side is very much kind of like a bargain bin kind of situation itself. I mean, it's no-tell, but it's pretty shoddy. You do know that they have some kind of stranger clientele. Some of the hospital rooms have been left as hospital rooms for whatever reason, with tools included, like especially around the OBGYN ward. Whatever. Creeps. It's Night City. Welcome.
Stay away from there.
Stay
Whatever
away
they're
from
into, I
that
guess.
side of the building. But REO Meatwagon doesn't use a lot of its top floors. Most of their stuff that they still use is kind of towards the bottom. You think that there are some corpos that like are the paper pushers that might still work up there, but you've never been beyond the 10th floor. And the operating rooms are like on the 5th, right? And that's where you're headed. So
Such a security reason.
they push her through the front door. Those of you who kind of catch up with her, like literally, like there's a ramp, goes to the front door, door slides open, glass, parting door into an office space. They walk her to a service elevator, and they put her in,
God.
and they send her on up. And anybody who wants to pop in with her, great. The elevators in Night City, you kind of get like. You're going to get one of two things, right? You're going to get like a rundown elevator that kind of clunks and chunks as it's kind of making its way on up, or you're getting those nice, smooth, corpo, like robo kind of moves, like lifts. This is somewhere in between. Like it was probably the former, and it's decayed into the latter. So it's really clean inside compared to what you've seen so far of the space. Mm-hmm. But it definitely moves like it's not been worked on in a while. You make it up to the 5th floor. Jerry and the friend, whose name is been brought to you as John, kind of push the cart in and head over to surgery ward. There's a single nurse, a buxom black woman, just kind of looking at you as like just confused. As you kind of enter.
John is the bad guy, you guys.
Huh? Oh, John is the
John
bad
is
guy.
the bad guy.
Oh, that makes
He's the bad
sense.
guy.
Yeah, named him John. If his name was Eric with a K, we would have known for sure he's a.
Oh yeah, that's
Bad dude.
10 out of 10.
That's the
fine.
doctor's names.
But the nurse.
No.
The nurse sees Redtail, and you know her name is Anise, and she's kind of like one of the only nurses who kind of works during the day. Most of REO Meatwagon's action is at night. Their business, if you will. So yeah, she's probably just like working the job for the hourly, and doesn't much want to do like actual work. Especially when it comes to like bodies and blood and whatnot. But she sees you all entering in. She takes a stat chart from Jerry as he kind of comes in, and they wheel Nina into the back. So Jerry kind of turns back and looks to whoever has been identified as the person in charge, which would be Letty, and says, "Okay, ma'am, we can secure her. She's going to need long-term care, long-term acute care. It does look like there's going to be a situation where we need to reconstruct a bit of the chest area, specifically around the lung. Her left lung is completely obliterated. It's no longer working. We were able to kind of focus a lot of the attention away from, and Redtail, thanks to his ingenious craftsmanship, focus a lot of the attention away from that side of the body, so she wasn't just choking on her own blood. And she seems to be in stable condition, but yeah, it's going to be about 3 days minimum, could be as long as a month, with her being present here. I don't know if you know how we do business, probably haven't ever been around here. Look like the type of lady who gets the fanciest of care. But we typically bill out for the maximum, even if it takes the minimum.
Well, do what you can.
So it's going to be about 2,000 eddies for us to get everything we need done here.
Red Tail's gonna chime in. Denise, I think we can give them a discount.
Oh. Friends of yours.
Do me a
then?
favor, eh?
All right, Red. If you're willing to work a couple weekends, then we'll do it for 500.
That's a big discount.
Wow.
Work a couple weekends can mean like a lot of money in their pocket.
It's like look, he looks
Yeah.
at Letty and winks at her.
Thank you, Red Tail.
Good for something.
Very good for something. You take that now.
Yeah, you can transfer it
Pass
over.
me your info,
He holds
and
out-
then
Hold out his agent, almost like a beggar. Like,
please, can I have some
yeah.
Money, please.
Jerry works for
Money,
Ario
please.
Meatwagon. He's not proud. He's
Money.
Not proud.
she'll send it over.
You see him kind of like, do something with his agent. X, you're able to tell that he's actually divvying the money.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is X is probably pinging
Yeah.
off of stuff to do the same thing. He was in the ambulance.
So you're watching the transaction. 250 250 of the cash goes up somewhere. Seems to go to the corporation's like holding account. And then 100 goes to him. 100 goes to his friend John. And then it looks like 50 is being put forward to the nursing staff. So then Jerry and John go in the back, and you see them kind of start disrobing their flak. And Redtail, you can see them start to put on kind of the medical garb. And he looks over at you and he says, and if you want to help, you can help. It's going to be about an hour or two's worth of work today, but once we get her fully unstable, it'll basically just be, her body helping us and helping the implants.
In for a penny, in for a pound. Just follow them back.
Don't think this counts against the couple weekends you owe us, all right?
Nah. Don't remind me.
And don't forget to scrub up, Sometimes the hair holds a little bit more dirt than the flesh. Washes the red fur.
Watches the red fur, puts the glove on.
Got a double glove bed.
Double glove it.
So I don't know if... so I'm pretty sure everyone just kind of followed in. Wherever Dolly goes, I assume Crown is. So I'll ask her
100%.
first. Did you go up or did you just stay in the lobby?
Yeah, she's curious about
Okay.
just what's going on. And just is it very crowded now? Like, are we in like a
No. Ario Meatwagon.
This
So,
is a backwoods hospital. Right?
have you ever seen those like what are they called, like lineal space like videos, like where it's creepy like emptied out hospitals,
Back rooms.
yeah, back rooms and such? That's where you're standing.
It's such a security risk.
You see like the door they enter in. It's like one of those like old style kind of like surgery room doors, right? And as you're kind of like looking around, you see another one like across the way, and you kind of like gaze inside, and you see a surgery bed, and it looks like it has a person that's been ripped open at the chest, just like looks like someone just pulled down on both sides of the rib cage from underneath, right? And they're just laying there, and it looks like based on the coloration of them, they've been there for weeks, right? And you're kind of like, at first, and then you kind of like just curiosity catches you, and as you look inside, you see that the back corner of that space is filled with other bodies, and they're just stuffed in there. And you'd also see that there is a sign on the door that says "Keep out, biohazard," and it seems to have been shut and sealed closed. So yeah, the space is not. There might be a lot of people here, but that's not saying they're all up and about.
Is anyone sort of eyeing Dolly?
No. So the only people that are in here with you are Jerry, John, who just went into the surgery room with Redtail, and Anissa. or Anise, who is the buxom black lady who is at. She's very much a sassy looking individual who just doesn't look like she's going to deal with anybody's shit, right? She very much looks like she's in charge, right? But at the same time, she is not asking any questions. She is not. When Dolly looks in the biohazard room, she doesn't say, "Miss, don't." She doesn't do anything. She's not doing anything. She's not being paid.
Ma'am.
She's not that woman. But yeah, when she needs to be, she will. Right? She very much has like a. She has an aura.
Don't tell nobody about the shotgun under the counter.
I wasn't going to mention the bunch of arms carnage that is sitting underneath the counter.
So, okay.
Go ahead.
Seeing as this isn't like a very like crowded space or anything, Dolly's gonna just keep having her like casual, just like nonchalant kind of demeanor.
And do you want to? Sorry, you're gonna say something, but go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, so Letty, what's the deal here?
You mean Nina?
Yeah, like is she a star you're in charge of, or what?
I mean, she is a star employee, I would say. She is my assistant, IT, all of the
that's
above.
right. Okay.
She's worked for me for quite a while, and part of why I got the promotion. So, want to make sure she is all right.
If she's your, IT person, how'd she end up like this?
It is Night City. Many things happen, you know.
One of the
There are.
sorry to cut you off. One of the main things I want to just make sure we kind of are clear on, Dolly. Go ahead and make a human perception roll.
Oh shit.
Yeah, the music started.
Yeah.
I think
God.
I think there's something that's happening here that Dolly would probably pick up on. She seems like a pretty sharp girl based on her.
You're probably
stats.
thinking, why did we not go with Trump?
So yeah, the main
She's seen some stuff.
well, the main thing that's kind of worrying is Biotechnica has like left out no penny, right? Paying for your room, your board, where you go, your stay, your fits, all this shit, right? There is not a dollar they don't have, like you're a dollar they don't have to spend on you. But when her star employee gets railed, well, not a good way, but railed with a railgun.
Railgunned.
Yeah, railgun. And then, like, first off, they didn't call Trauma there. They called you, and you dragged her to some podunk little pharmacy spot in Wellspring, like 5 minutes out at the fastest you could get, right? Damaging the car in the process. Then they hired on these backwater, like weird. REO Meatwagon is based out of Texas. This very just kind of like Hill-Jackian kind of EMT, and instead of fronting the bill for Trauma, and you overheard them say, "We don't want to take her to Trauma." Why? Like there's a lot of questions here that are kind of boiling up. Apparently, this Nina is either more important than just an IT person, like Letty's trying to push, or she's a criminal of some sort.
Yeah, and like
Welcome to
Dolly's
Night City.
Yeah.
she's no stranger to like odd kind of like street kind of criminal activity or things like that. So she can kind of tell that like Letty's not being entirely truthful with her, to say the least, but she also doesn't want to like piss her off, so she's not pushing too hard.
That makes sense.
Yeah, they don't pay
it's
you to
not
ask
necessarily that she's hiding it. She just doesn't think that like you need to be too concerned on exactly why people are after Nina.
And I do want to stress another thing too.
I mean, you're the talent.
Yeah, that's
Letty's the
that-
one who's supposed to be handling everything.
But keep that in mind. That's a power dynamic I want you to understand here, Stephanie. It's very much important to how you interact with Letty. She is here to manage you. But without you, she is pointless. So
Yeah.
understanding the dynamic, like you are the talent. So like if Dolly lets that get to her head, great. If not, that's fine too.
Yeah, she's suspicious. She's sus, but she's kind of just seeing how it unfolds still.
Okay.
But it is nothing that you necessarily need to concern yourself about. It is being handled clearly. Motioning over towards the surgery room.
If you say so, Letty. I would have thought you would have gone to someplace nicer, though. She just like pulls out a cigarette again.
The Anise would kind of, ma'am, sorry, no smoking on the wall. You're gonna have to take that downstairs.
Worst place ever.
She just like puts it. She's like standing next to like a seating arrangement. She just puts it out on the seat.
Okay. It so most seats that you're used to are kind of like plasticine, kind of like simple chairs for easy cleaning. These appear to be like those old style kind of like plastic covered foam pads, like church seating, if you will. So when you kind of put it out, it burns right through the plastic, and you can actually like see it like, leave a little ember in the foam before going out.
I don't think they really cared that much about this anyway.
Fair enough. Inside, everything's going over fine. An hour or so is going to pass without issue. And you're basically going to get her to a point where it's pretty much just bed rest, and that's all she's going to need. There will be some kind of future intervention, but that's mainly just in case like the windpipe doesn't it had like a crushed state, so like you kind of reverted that, fix that. But if it compresses again, you'll have to kind of intervene. But based on what you can see here, she's in good hands here, and not really much else you can do, Redtail, after about an hour or so. Crown, as you're kind of surveying the area, very early on, you said it yourself. You catch wise. This is not a very safe location.
Mm-mm.
Lots of points of egress. Not sure who's on staff or who's going to be where. And during that hour, another EMT kind of comes into the surgery ward and wheels a person down the back, and they're being followed by two gang goons that are just kind of like,
Before that, one thing that I wanted to have X do in that intervening hour is how complicated or difficult would it be? Do they actually have a net architecture in this building?
They do, but what you realize is that the Pathfinder traces it all upstairs, and it seems to be a very limited net architecture, which is basically connected via satellite to a remote location. It doesn't seem like there's a lot in the way of security here. No cameras or anything. There are cameras, like you can see them. They're physically present, but they are not on.
Okay.
Nor could they be turned on if you wanted to.
They're fake cameras.
No, they're real.
Camera.
They are real.
They're
They
just-
worked at one time. They do not anymore.
My main question was going to be how difficult it would be for X to put a back door in to connect to here remotely if need
Sure.
be, to keep an eye on things or to see if other people have been sniffing around.
Well, if you wanted to kind of hold like a position here, you could just drop your remote like in her space, and you would basically be able to functionally connect as if you were
I
in
guess
this
that
space.
makes sense. I would probably slip that in whatever her belongings were for
Okay.
the time being.
Yeah, you just kind of pull
Better
out of
idea,
your duffel
yeah.
bag, drop the remote into her stuff, and that's that.
Now back to us getting murdered.
Okay. So
When-
yeah, Crown. It's not a very safe location. You're very much certain of that. If someone wanted to cause problem here, it wouldn't be an issue. And people are kind of just let in without being checked. So like I mentioned, a person seems to be coming in from another EMT group. Two more med techs kind of coming in with this person on a stretcher. The person that's shot on the stretcher appears to be like a tiger claw. I don't know if you're familiar with the tiger claws. And the two people that come in are just, gangers. Like they have, one of them has an SMG kind of on a strap and a katana on his back. And the other one is a woman who has like bladed cyber legs and like a kabuki mask, like the, typical like tiger claw, like red, circle on her brow, all that kind of garb.
Yeah.
And she very much has two, like, fighting swords on her belt. Like, these people look like they could probably handle themselves in a fight.
Yeah.
But they're just allowed to be in, or to walk in, and so they do.
Okay. As long as there's no like eyeing Dolly or Letty, the threat detection stays on.
Yeah, they do not care. They walk
Okay.
past you. They're very much concerned about this guy who appears to have been shot. Mooney, as that guy's passing by, you recognize him, the guy who was shot. You're kind of like, huh. The tiger claw who is laying in the on the stretcher is Abizo Koga. Abizo Koga was, for the very first session of Dark Skies, was the tiger claw contact that Hungry had and communicated with.
Oh, yeah.
And Jonah and Mooney were watching them kind of talk to each other. But it looks like he's got a shotgun blast that hit him square in the chest and kind of took off a bit of his jaw. So they're kind of wheeling him to the back, and these two badasses are kind of walking with the EMTs. It sounds like they're cursing in Japanese a lot at them.
Small world.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mooney takes a moment to sort of reflect on how the times have changed.
Oh, yeah. Just sitting outside. And
He's like, I've got like a cushy corpo gig, and
sitting outside of a horrible situation with a corpo in your car, to sitting inside of a horrible situation with a corpo in your charge. Yeah, things have changed a lot, Mooney.
Nuance.
Better pay.
But better pay.
Yeah, but at least this time nobody's pointing guns at me.
Also
Yeah.
true.
Nicer clothes.
Got a new hat?
Got a new hat.
Yeah, I did get a new hat.
That is true. Okay.
You're welcome.
So, if you allow it, you folks, and you're not planning on staying here for a long time, the REO Meat Wagon folks are going to tell you that it's probably going to be 3 days minimum before she's talking again. So if you want to wait around, you can. You're welcome to stay, but they do tell you there is a fee. It's it's 10 eddies per hour for any guests of a patient to remain.
Jesus.
I'd rather not stay in this dump.
Yeah, for 10 eddies. Hell no. Anyone want to stay for 10 eddies?
Here's
An
the question:
hour.
Can you hire extra security? If you're
No.
worried about it.
Well, sorry. So, Letty, you would get a phone call in that hour that I mentioned, and they basically were told by you before they got to where you were going before, and since the location had changed, they'd come to you. So a car pulls up outside of REO Meat Wagon, and they would probably meet you out there. But Honora and Tove will arrive on the scene. So for those of you who aren't familiar with Letty's other team members, some of you would be, even though you're not. But Tove is her security specialist.
Nice.
She is, according to what you understand, her physical trainer, who is just always kind of present, strangely. And Mooney's not dumb. She's obviously a part of the security detail, because you've seen her and Crown talk. Like, there's definitely, like,
Letty's on a very strict diet right now.
Yeah, very strict diet. She has to be made.
She hasn't had
wrong,
any
so.
of her favorite pastries in like weeks.
Tove
can't
is
even
there
bear
to
the-
karate chop a pastry out of Letty's
Red
hand.
tail comes out eating a pop
And she
tart.
can't even bear the sight of her favorite place because it reminds her of grenade damage she's still paying on.
She's so unhappy these days.
So this individual is like kind of her security specialist, and then Honora. You don't know what her job is, Mooney. You're not sure what she does, other than she seems to be a personal assistant. A lot of the stuff that Nina used to do.
The nails, though.
Yeah, for sure. You've noticed that she's been taking on those duties a lot more lately. Almost as if Nina's training her replacement. Because that's how Corpo Society works.
Would this be under Dramatis Personas?
It is. This would be under Corpos and then Biotechnica.
Gotcha.
And then if you're interested in seeing Koga, this is an older piece. I am going to update it, but this is when I was using AI, so I don't use AI anymore. But Koga is the guy who was on the stretcher.
Yep.
So I guess Mooney will be accompanying Letty.
Outside, sure.
Yeah. So when Honora and Tove arrive, he just sort of gives them a little greeting with his hat. Ladies.
So the first question that Tove would ask is him, right? It was him.
I believe it was.
Yep. Well, I'll be honest, I'm glad I wasn't around for it. I would have hated to have to deal with that. Honora kind of shakes her head and kind of lets out a little giggle and says, so, why here? I mean, I know trauma's a problem, but surely you've got a ripper doc or a friend, right?
I mean, I do, but they are busy.
All right. Well, are we heading out or are we staying here with her?
It is 10 eddies per hour per person to stay. Probably not the best use of our money at the moment.
Tove says, but do we want to make sure she's safe?
Absolutely.
Honora, can Patty Cash handle it? Honora nods her head. Yeah, I think so. Tove says, I'll stay with her if you want me to.
That would be appreciated, and if you could give us a call if there's anything, we will try to stay close.
She walks up to Mooney, who came down, kind of presses her knuckles against your chest and kind of pushes. And you're a big guy, so like moving you at this point now isn't exactly easy. But you know that she's got like cyber arms, Tove does, and she kind of pushes you, and it's kind of like heartfelt, like you can feel a little bit of that push. And she says, "You're in charge of keeping an eye on the boss. Don't fuck it up, cowboy." And she'll walk past everybody and head into the meat wagon.
Before she leaves, he says, likewise, if you need a lift anywhere, you may call.
She turns back with like a smile, almost a flirtatious one, and then kind of walks in. Honora kind of like presses her nails together and kind of holds them up to her face, looking at you, Letty, and says, "This whole Nina situation, it's really a liability. We don't have to afford it anymore."
I would like to know a bit more of the background on why we are in the situation that we are in.
So we need her talking.
And it's something that she can probably answer for us.
Anything you need me to run or check on while we wait?
This is me thinking.
That's a very long pause.
Give me the thoughts.
I am thinking of the location that X and her were at.
Okay.
And how far, like, X probably said it was like from a distance. I obviously know a railgun has quite a good distance on firing, but like where Reggie was, and also like how, like, I don't know how to find this out, but like how Reggie knew where Nina was.
You keep saying that it's Reggie. Do we know that for certain?
I mean, we don't, but
When you first hired me on and you mentioned this is a possible problem, I did as much detail searching as I could on this former door gunner. Sniping wasn't really a thing that was mentioned in his expertise. So I don't know if this is pertinent, especially since you're saying that X said that the shot was from across the water.
Yes, I believe it was with a railgun.
There's one person we know that
Or
was
something
interested in
similar.
sniping.
I think that
Yeah, there was another guy who I
Yeah.
don't think whose body was ever recovered.
Who's that?
It was recovered by trauma team.
No, it wasn't. No, I'm not talking about Reggie.
Oh,
No,
not
no.
Fisk. The other guy.
The rocker boy. Atomic Titian's character, the one that went
Riff.
Super Psycho.
Riff?
Yeah, there we
He's
go.
alive.
Riff is not. Riff was not Cyber Psycho. You're talking
No,
about
Razor.
Razor,
Razor.
and Razor's
Razor.
body was very much recovered.
Oh, it was? Okay.
Yeah, then they.
Yeah.
Yeah, then it was paid for to be cremated.
And he was more
Oh,
melee.
okay.
He
And
was
they
not sniper.
Yeah. Well, no, he was a sniper.
Oh, he was?
Yeah.
He mostly did
He
the
does a katana on point blank,
Katana.
and he shoots railguns. He had
There's someone else that Chad suspects, but Mooney has not connected the dots because he does not have all the details.
Well, I will let you know this is not a murder mystery game. That's another game.
That's Tuesday.
That'll be Tuesday, and I don't know if anyone has picked up on the connections, but yeah, there are some. Feel free to reread what you've read and think on it. But that said, Honora would kind of like scratch her chin delicately because she's got fucking razor blades for nails, and say, "Our goal right now is just protecting the bimbo, right?"
I mean, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
She is the priority.
Is that hearable? Like,
Are you down there with them?
The bimbo.
If you're
I
down
assume
there,
we all left together, but
yeah. Well, no, Redtail, you're still in there. Like,
I'm still in there.
yeah,
I was
this would have
just-
probably been before you came out.
Bitch.
But Dolly, like, I assumed you were sitting in the waiting room hanging out, and Crown was kind of maintaining like a security presence on you. X was staying up there depositing, like, doing net architecture shenanigans, and also depositing his remote with her. Mooney and Letty would have left for a bit to go down and talk to her girls when they arrived, her angels. So yeah, they're very much talking shit about you behind your back. And by
okay.
them, I mean just this Honora lady.
You
That's
just
it.
sneeze.
Hey, you
Shit.
like people being true to themselves, not being
No,
fake.
she-
Come on.
Dolly just says, like, kind of sarcastically, "Thank you," from like across the room.
Well, no, they're downstairs. Like, they're
oh,
outside.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I was the bimbo all along.
I'll tell you what, though, Mooney's smoking a cigarette.
If inspiration was a thing. I would-
No.
but she would say, that's our main task, right? We don't really care about this Nina in this situation, or do we?
I mean, we do, but we also need to keep Dolly safe.
These aren't tasks that are going to work very well together. You're going to need
They are
mo-
not, but Tove has
You're going to
it
need
under control.
mobility like you've had in the past, and your department allows for that. You do know that, but your situation with this pop icon is going to be an issue unless we pull her from her requirements. You would, of course, have to keep her about, but from her history, she does have some street cunning. I think she can handle that piece she has. Crown seemed to like it. She won't be a
she
hired
does
gun.
have spunk.
Then we should probably pull her off the wire for a bit until we handle this Nina situation to your satisfaction.
Perhaps we should pull back, yes.
Okay, I'll go ahead and put in the notifications. I'll cut off our appointment with the Nippon Network tomorrow. I'm sure based on her typical attitude at these interviews, she wasn't too interested in doing it anyway. Perfectly fine. And I'll cancel out her schedule for the rest of the week. Luckily, she doesn't have any shows at current, not until November. So we'll be okay there. Um, you said that you wanted to investigate the location where Nina was hit. Um, since I have a bit more freedom in my stance here, I could go and check that out for you, or if you'd like, you could go and do it. Either way, I would highly suggest making sure that Crown were on the scene. He is, again, based on his history and his data sheet, he'd probably be very capable in ascertaining what happened there, even with the little scraps of evidence that still remain.
I think we will take a look ourselves.
Okay.
Dolly seems interested in learning about this anyways.
I'll head back to the office and I will cut her schedule and do what I can to make sure that if any inquiries come in from the higher-ups, that they are assuaged neatly enough. So far, in these last few weeks, I've been satisfactory, have I not?
You have been great.
Good.
Oh, one request from Dolly. We are putting a new line in. She is not drinking the cola or trying things on
It
video.
tastes like the ass on the can.
Why wouldn't she want to drink it? It's so good.
She does not like it. It is not her taste.
Fair enough. Well, we can see if we can get a different, maybe chromanticore or something. I don't know. But, okay. Not a problem. I'll make sure that she's not drinking on screen anymore. Just send me any other line items you need and I'll handle them. It's Letty.
Of course. Thank you so much.
She walks back to the car that she drove in on. She did not drive, and it's just a corporate biotechnic vehicle. You've taken several of these before. This is
Does Tove come up?
Tove comes up, yeah. So,
Okay.
Stephanie, your character has interacted with these NPCs before. They're her team members. Honora's probably been distant to you and not talked to you directly. She kind of talked to Letty, and then Letty talks to you. Okay, stop. Stop. Okay, I gotta go fight a cat. Hold on.
I heard him.
Put your dukes up, kitty!
The first actual
him
battle
print.
of the game.
Yeah.
Referee
First
versus
firefight.
Soupy Baby.
It's okay, Mike. It's okay. Dealing with being a jerk, I know.
Oh, I'm sure he wasn't.
Leyland
So
is
I know this
innocent.
isn't usually
Malin is
how
an
this
angel.
goes,
Malin did nothing wrong, okay?
but when we roll out, Mooney would like
Oh.
Letty to sit up front with him. He has some questions.
Okay.
It's okay. Okay, so you're gonna be watching a little bit of Miss Mittens here for a little bit. Sorry,
Look at the butt.
that is a butt. You are correct.
Sweet girl.
Okay. So Honora will go
Oh, this is
handle the
this
business.
is the one that hides.
Yeah, this is the level 20 rogue.
She
Okay.
has a very high stealth score.
Oh, she has the highest fucking stealth score.
But she's
Like plus
also
40
the
on a-
cutest. Wait, hold
on a
on.
bad
Let's
day.
see if we can get...
She's such a pretty girl.
Oh,
Oh,
baby.
the camera. Wait. Okay.
Oh, there she
Okay.
is. Oh, look at her.
Little baby.
I love her.
She,
Look at her face. Oh, you're so cute.
she's 11, and when she was very young,
Baby.
people who had
Is she an
her...
old lady?
Oh,
No,
she just hit the
11's
refresh.
not old.
Oh, it's not old.
She's got like 10 more years.
Yeah.
Right, you're right.
She just hit the refresh button on my Roll20. That's funny. I didn't even know you could press a hotkey for refresh.
You're a little baby.
But her tail will swish. She she was declawed by her original owners,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
don't do, by the way.
Yeah.
those
Oh,
watching
definitely
know.
It's
not.
bad.
It's very
Never.
bad. So she doesn't have a real means of defending herself, and sometimes Nayland gets really spunky and will try and play with her, but he doesn't hold back and doesn't understand that she's being very vocal because she's scared, not because she wants to play. So
Yeah.
gotta break those fights up.
Kai had that problem too.
Too much engagement. But yeah, the thing is like when Shiniro does the same thing, like he gets also saucy and doesn't understand that the same is happening in reverse, but to her instead of
Saucy
him.
babies.
Anyway, so Honora will go and complete her tasks. Tove will come up, and so like I was saying, Stephanie, you've interacted with these individuals before. As I was saying with Honora, she doesn't talk to you directly. She kind of talks to Letty and then kind of to you. It seems that she is her personal assistant, her PA, and then Tove is like her personal trainer. But you're also not stupid, and I'd say that Tove of the two very much kind of hides what they're doing better, because you're pretty sure that all corpos have like different mentalities, like they do things that are not the stuff that they say they're doing. But Tove very much, it's very easy for you to tell that she's not just a trainer. It very much seems that she is a security specialist, especially since her and Crown have had conversations about security that you don't think would be warranted by a trainer.
I was gonna ask.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask if Tove and Crown had a report.
Yeah, so you've actually talked about security concerns before, because again, when she wasn't allowed to go to the N54 studio because the studio has like a limitation as to how many corpos they're just going to allow from a different corporation into their like establishments. It's kind of like a bad idea to just have like a whole ass fucking group of corpos from a rival corporation just pop in.
We're fine.
No. No.
I believe the collective noun for a group of corpos, John, is actually a lawsuit.
100%. But yeah, so it's very much the case that she is not. She's security. So she comes in, and she'll kind of like very quickly gauge everything, and then kind of walk over to Crown and say, "Secure."
It's a little secure. There's a bit of there's a burnt out caddy wagon downstairs. Dead body in it. Some gangers over there in the surgical room. Nothing too major. Kitted out. Our other packages in the surgery room resting.
Yeah, so I'm gonna stay here with Nina for a little while. Just make sure she's physically able to kind of muster herself at the boss's insistence. So long as you've got your care item secure, I believe that the boss was mentioning that her schedule is going to possibly fluctuate. So
Open up.
I think that she'll probably want to talk to you directly. She might be on her way back up here in a bit after talking to Honora.
Yeah. How's Honora? How's she doing?
Bitchy as usual. She doesn't want to be here. So I'm sure she's probably giving Letty an earful.
Yeah, that's fair.
How's Dolly?
Well, he's Dolly.
You can overhear this, by the way, Stephanie. They are talking about you within earshot.
Pretty chill. Nothing.
Good.
Nothing too major.
She didn't react poorly to the blood. She's good.
You liked it, I think.
She kind of comes off as a strong girl, so good.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Well, yeah. Once Letty gets back up here, she'll let you know what's going on.
Yeah,
and,
over.
I'm gonna go stand in there and do what I gotta do. So she goes in there. Letty finishes conversation with Honora, sends Honora back to the office. Letty goes back upstairs to get back in contact with Dolly. She's got Mooney in tow, and Redtail's finishing up with all the operations pretty much at the same time. Also, business in the surgery ward picks up, so to speak, as two more patients are wheeled in and brought into farther away kind of spaces. You'll notice that it seems that they're putting a lot of the other patients or guests of the hospital in the back, like closer towards the hotel area, but they kept yours like up front, right near the nurse's station, for what Redtail will tell you later for purpose, so she can be monitored and actually be taken care of.
The new patients,
not so much.
the new patients that come in, or the new patient and the entourage, what do they look like?
So the two new patients that you get pulled in, one of them is a guy and a girl. The girl's like crying, kind of over him. They look like street punks, street rats. And then the second grouping of individuals, it's actually just one guy, and it looks like he's a corpo of some sort. Can't really tell what corporation he works for. He's just wearing business suit and attire. There's no people coming in with him. It's just him by himself.
Alright. It's probably here for the hotel.
Yeah. And Jerry and John would have left probably about halfway through the hour marker. So that last group that's coming in, the corpo guy, they're actually being wheeled in by Jerry and John.
Gotcha.
Because there aren't really a shit ton of... Good.
Mooney watches like the solo corpo kind of go by. He says, I used to know a guy like that.
Okay.
The guy would have
That's
fucking blown
savage.
himself up with a goddamn grenade launcher. He's a badass. Living the cyberpunk dream. Okay.
He died valiantly. Okay.
So, yeah, you love the tail switches. If you can see, she's kind of rolled over with her feet. It's really cute. I just don't know how to capture it
I
on
love her.
camera
With
without.
the camera, duh.
Well, I don't know how to do it without showing the mess that is my my office, and I don't want to show that, so I'm not going to do it.
Okay.
Anywho, Letty, you get back upstairs. How do you want to
Yeah.
communicate what's going on next and what you want to do next? It's probably by this time close to 4 p.m.
Okay.
or actually closer to 5 p.m.
Right. So she'll go to Dolly and Crown. So we are not going to wait around here for too much longer. But we are going to clear up your schedule a little bit, Dolly, to handle some things. And but it's nothing to worry. And we're getting that line written in as we speak. So
Yeah, I noticed some stuff was canceled from my calendars. That's cool. Do you want to get anything to eat? I'm kind of hungry.
Honora works quick.
We can stop for food on our way to look at some things. X, you remember where you met with Nina?
Yeah. It's by the old SSI building.
Would you mind showing us
Yeah.
after we get a bite to eat?
Yeah, I'm not really hungry, but yeah.
I'll go get the car.
You know it's serious. When X says he's not hungry.
I was waiting for somebody to pick up on that. Thank you.
Well, to be true, because I think Joe might still be in the audience, we know that X isn't hungry because hungry
That is
true.
true.
That works in the blood.
We do know that. We do know that.
Where
Bad joke is bad.
Shut the fuck up about it. It's a great joke.
But you also know that the mission is starting because food.
Yes.
are there any like Caribbean spots on the way?
No. So you are currently in Kabuki. So
No.
Damn.
most restaurants are going to be dime a dozen, like pop-in shops, kind of like Buck a Slice. I can't remember the names of the other kind of shitty like food vendors off the top of my head for right now. But if you want a sit-down restaurant that's not going to be terrible,
McKing's.
You do know, yeah, that'd probably be one. Because again, when in Cyberpunk, if you want to know the name of a corporation, take 2 real-life corporations and force their fucking names together, because that's probably what happened in the game. They
Yeah.
became conjoined and are now one corporation.
There's Mick Kings and
KF tacos.
Burger Dons.
Kentucky Fried Tacos.
Kentucky Fried Taco.
I fucking hate it. And Shisho hates it also.
I mean, a fried taco sounds kind of good. I'm not gonna lie.
Fried taco.
But see, what I'm
You're gonna
imagining
deep fry
is
that
like,
burrito. Mm-mm.
you remember the chicken sandwiches that Taco or KFC tried to do?
Yeah. The
Yeah.
double
But
down.
I'm thinking of like a split chicken breast fried and then with taco
Oh my
in
God,
the
baby
middle.
cat.
And it actually kind of
yeah.
sounds good in like a disturbing way.
Shisho,
I'd try
Kentucky
that.
Fried
I'd try that.
Tacos.
I'm not lying. I would try that.
We were talking about Kentucky Fried Tacos.
Are we getting Kentucky Fried Tacos?
That's a real thing. So
Or like
it's canon now.
just some Nashville hot chicken and like a wrap. Like I would.
But the easiest way to get to where X says the location was, the SSI building over by the N54 main corpo office. So Jijo's on board for Kentucky Fried Chicken Taco. Okay. So then the easiest way to pop over is moving into the Corpo Plaza, taking a sharp turn onto the same road that Letty lives on, heading right past the Biotechnica Hotel, and right past there to the SSI building. So you can kind of see, if you're looking at the map, and I snap pinged us here, you may want to zoom in here. The Biotechnica Hotel is where Letty and Mooney currently live, and also, surprisingly enough, you as well, Dolly. It's a very nice location. I believe I took you on a tour of your personal hotel room. That whole floor is bought out by Letty, well, for you specifically.
I've never gotten a tour.
I'll give it to you later then. The N54 building is right across the way, and some people have been shown that, especially Tom, because right behind there, right near there, kind of near the front, is the SSI building. If you kind of go in between the SSI building and this old Arasaka warehouse, which you'll see is notated as a Danger Gal office, this is left over from our 2045 escapades. However, I will say, out of character, I'm not past Danger Gal still existing in 2077. I just haven't had a need to bring them out yet. Danger Gal's a security firm. It's all girls. Some of them have cat ears. Okay, so going out onto the back, there's like a small little waterway. And funny enough, one of the Arasaka high tier family members is the one who runs it. But it was more kind of a time of the red thing. Focusing back up, it's right there on the waterfront. That's where it all happened. So you can stop and pick up food along the way. Francesca's trattoria is right on the way. If you really want to eat there again, your call. But as you're driving, I want to ask, I'm going to go from left to right. Obviously, Chad, you're going to be driving, so you won't have much of an input. But you're going to be driving. I want to know what you're doing while Cat. Well, I want to know what you're doing while driving. That's really important to me. It's very important. I know kind of what you're doing, and if it's something that you think is benign, not even worth noting, it might be worth noting. So please note it. So Chad driving, obviously.
Yeah. Also had some questions for Letty.
Shoot it.
Oh,
Yeah. So basically, as soon as they get in the car, he hits the button to close up the window between the front seat and the back seat.
Yeah, because she sat in the front.
Right. Doesn't say anything to anybody in the back, just hits the button, and then he says, "So, I noticed Nina has the same face as that woman that Reggie zeroed."
Oh, yes. She is a clone, if you will.
Well,
Do you have concerns?
no, I just, well, it's kind of surprising. Because, last time I saw that face, it was, all over the ground.
Yeah, it was. Luckily that was not our Nina.
No.
That clearly didn't help, seeing as our Nina is now back there.
Right. So now the the bit about not wanting trauma team to get involved, that makes sense because of Reggie, I'm assuming.
Yes, whatever capacity they have him working in these days, I am not sure. I thought that was over with him. Clearly, it's not.
Yeah, but we don't.
Um,
I guess we'll find out.
yes.
Okay. Are there any other Ninas running around?
Not that I am aware of. That is something that I'm sure that we will be finding out. Maybe there are other Ninas that are not Ninas, if you understand what I mean. Like other clones of other people.
Yeah, there's yeah. It's, he's kind of having like flashbacks to like Jacob and um like Striga. And he's sort of like his part of his brain is just like dude, what the fuck did you get yourself into?
The corporate life.
Yeah.
For life.
I
Meanwhile,
really do be like that.
you folks are in the back. I want to explain the vehicle real quick, just for people who are watching at home. So, if you're familiar with the Cyberpunk 2077 game, it's a Chevillon Thrax 388 Jefferson 2062 model. However, this one has been modified by Biotechnica for passenger purposes. Normally, the Thrax is a sedan, so it would be 2 seats up front, 2 seats or 3 seats in the back. The back end is kind of extended a bit, just slightly. Very hard to notice if you're not actually attuned to cars. But right behind Letty and Mooney is a seat that faces backwards, and then right in front of that seat are the 3 original seats. So it can actually seat a total of 6 people in the back that are basically going to be knee to knee almost, very close. It's like maybe 6 inches to a foot of clearance between the 2 seat spaces. So obviously the bigger you are, the more space you're going to take up, and the closer your knees are going to be to the other people's knees, which is mainly going to be Crown. I'm assuming that Crown is seated in a position where he is looking directly at the driver. So if any communication were to be relayed, that would be kind of relayed to you directly. Security mentality. And then literally right next to you in the middle seat is Dolly, kind of placed there. And then just based on positioning, like she's not like right next to you, she's kind of a little ways away from you, and then the other 2 who are party to this are kind of seated opposite you in front. So who's sitting opposite of Crown?
Is.
It's X. So yeah, your knees might be close to touching, if not kind of bumping on occasion. That's
Kissing.
and then they kiss. No, probably not. That said, you are in the back. Whether you communicate with each other is up to you. But very early on in the drive, like literally once Mooney gets in the car, the glass divider that kind of creates like it's supposed to be to allow for the driver not to hear the conversations of the passengers. But all of you are not stupid and understand that those 2 are talking about something that you're not allowed to listen to. So, while you're in the back, if you want to communicate with each other, you can just like they did. If you want to do something else, no matter how minute the situation is that you're thinking that you're going to go about doing, just let me know. What do you want to do? So we'll start with...
How good is the soundproofing?
Very.
I have improved hearing.
Yeah, very. I would say with your improved hearing, you can hear muffled kind of and you're the only person who can hear anything. But yeah, we'll start with Jonah. You're the easiest one, right? I'm doing security shit.
Pretty much, yeah. Like Crown, we can see through the tents, right? Like
you can see them, and you can see outside. Yeah, everything.
So mostly, like, he's gonna be looking for, like, if anyone's following us, or
Oh,
if there's.
and sorry, the tints aren't technically tints. They're crystal dome. Do you know what that means?
Mm-mm.
So the blackened glass is more of kind of like metal,
Oh,
which isn't technically transparent, but looks like it could be. And then inside there's a display that shows exactly what's on the other side of the glass. So you're not
okay,
actually looking outside. You're looking at a TV that's showing you the outside. The
gotcha.
same's true for the windshield. The same's true for the rear views. All that. In fact, there are no
So it's like
rear
an
view.
armored car.
Yeah, it is
Very
an
armored.
armored car. It's bulletproof glass. All yeah. There are no rear view mirrors, Chad. Just so you understand, and there's also no rear view like thing up in the top. It's just a display which has a camera on the back that shows you as if you were looking at a mirror out the back. And then where the rear view mirrors are cameras, and they have small little displays in front of you, so you can see out the left and out the right if you just look down near the speedometer. But yeah, back inside.
So
Yeah.
I still have threat detection on for 4.
For threat detection, focused on the
yeah.
road, keeping an eye
Yeah.
out, making sure nothing's happening. Easy
That's
peasy.
it. That's it.
So then, what's X doing?
X is probably going to try to bounce off architecture to do a library search to see if anything has hit NCPD or Scream Sheets in general about the
Great.
shooting.
Okay, so what you will learn is that there doesn't appear to be any information on a shooting in downtown, like near where you were.
Mhm.
Nothing about that. However, there does appear to be a notification being put out by N54 relatively recently regarding a altercation at Konpeki Plaza, which is a hotel at the Arasaka waterfront. I'll ping it.
Mhm.
Quite some distance away, about a kilometer or so away. And yeah, it seems that there was a cyber psycho individual who killed N54 news broadcaster Orion Ono in a brutal altercation. The sheets tell you that he was decapitated. His body was bruised and battered. The window was broken out. The sound of a gunshot was heard. And the individual, the perp, was found retreating on Cartwright, which is a street near Konpeki.
Does it have any description of said cyber psycho or
Yeah, let me
gear
go ahead and bring up a
descriptions?
picture of him real quick. Hold on.
Huh.
This is very interesting and fun. We're already overlapping, and I love it. Bear with me.
You're
here
welcome.
while I go to the handouts for punks. I think we have a handout for them, but I just haven't revealed it because it was funnier this way. Bear with me. I also am dealing with, as you can see, stretchy feet on my keyboard because she is very comfortable. I will send a picture in a moment, which will show you exactly how comfy and cozy she is after I saved her from the bad boy. Right, so the individual's name is Salvador Diego. Goes by the handle El Mano. You would be able to pull up information on El Mano regarding his small bout of fame in the MMA boxing circuits in Night City. Yeah, he is also a what is known as a luchador. Wears a mask on his head. Based on
That's
what you're
weird.
able to tell about El Mano, is that he has cyberware that and also like muscle modification that basically makes it very easy for him to basically punch a hole through a wall.
But not somebody known for using a railgun.
The railgun's out of sorts, yeah, but the ripping a dude into pieces and cutting their head off doesn't sound like it would be, or knocking their head off. You're not sure. The details are scarce. Orion Ono's head is gone.
I just heard gunshot window.
Fair. These are all fair things. I'm going to post this in pets. Hold on. Um,
Oh, I can't wait.
oh my god, she is so comfy cozy. I can't stand it. But yeah, he's not much of a rifle user unless it was like a heavy weapon or something maybe. He looks like he
X
could use
will
heavy weapons, like board weapons.
Mm.
X will flick that info to Letty's agent just with a message of this could be related, or at the very least, it means that nobody's paying attention to what happened
This would be happening.
with us.
This would be happening simultaneously with your conversation with Mooney
Yeah.
on the drive. Okay, so while that's happening, we've got. Let's go ahead and do Dolly. What are you doing?
So up until this point, she's been pretty just like, I don't know, acting very like disinterested. But she's gonna kind of turn on like the personable, like warmth kind of friendliness, to just try and like see what she can figure out, like what's going on here.
Who are you trying to
So-
wheel?
Just basically both individuals who are in the car. And she's just gonna say like, so what are your stories? How'd you get tied up with Letty?
He sort of found me.
Not you.
Yeah, not you. I know
Wrong
you.
end, brother.
Whoops!
She said two individuals, and I knew exactly who she was excluding.
My bad, my bad.
She knows how you came
Found
to
me
work
too.
for her. You got hired.
I know your story. I mean, you're free to talk. It's okay.
I'm so sorry.
No, keep going.
Work for hire, but listen, I'd normally love to chat and flirt and do this whole thing, but I'm a little busy.
Oh, honey, I'm not flirting with you, but cute.
Can we tell he's net running? Like, was his eyes glowing
Oh,
or anything?
Redtail, you're sitting next to him. So if he's doing a lot of like this information on his internal, not really. But if he's doing a lot of this on his, do you have an internal agent, X, or no? Okay, then yeah, you can't see shit other than his eyes buzzing as if he were kind of like fucking with something. You don't know what he's doing. But his eyes do
Well-
occasionally light up, like he's making calls or checking things. So yeah.
Sort of found me. Order a favor.
Yeah, that's not shady at all. She just kind of goes back. She's just like, she just
Okay.
looks.
Red
down in her
Tail is
phone.
tired. He has been in surgery for 4 hours. He doesn't give a shit.
I've
He's
got
just-
an interesting point of order I do want to throw out there, though. I need you, Dolly, to go ahead and make a perception check. This is an important retcon of the story so far.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, good enough. So when you entered in and you saw her kind of going towards the back, you did see the table that was covered with synth coke and other materials that he was cutting it with. So you're very much understanding that the Foxman is a drug dealer, or at least a drug maker. So I just want to make sure that that is on the table and you are aware that your character knows it.
Awesome.
Yeah, not a big conversationalist, are you, Doc? What kind of stuff you dealing?
Kind of stuff you need.
Oh
Now he's all business. He's waking up now.
yeah. First time to change, I was like, oh.
Bunny?
Just put on one of these. He's like, what do you need?
Yeah.
Celebrity clientele. Okay, well, we're changing it up. We're changing it up. Big time.
Yeah,
Tell you what, I'll give you a sample.
a sample. Oh, yeah. I'm not really into that stuff myself, but you know.
Oh, you're
I know
missing
some
out. It's
people
my
who might
brand
be.
new stuff. It's not even on the street yet.
Look, I've seen what that kind of stuff has done to people. Not
Not
interested.
mine.
Clean.
She just looks like.
There's,
Like,
there's
really
a reason
now,
I
really
was a
now.
med, there's a reason I'm a med tech. My stuff's
Crown
not
is
addictive.
Crown is gonna interject. She said no already.
Oh. An
We
advocate.
stand.
We love
We
it.
stand.
The lady said no.
They said no.
Oh my
He's
god.
just gonna huff and
She
roll the
just,
window
like-
down, light a cigarette.
She just like does one of these to him.
Jonah turned on the sweetness. That was so adorable.
The ward. She's my ward.
Yeah, gotta protect her. Yeah, stop trying to sell her drugs. I totally
They're not
understand.
drugs, they're recreational.
So you stop.
enjoyments.
I'm assuming the food situation is not terribly important, right? We're just gonna pop in, grab food,
Yeah.
eat, move on, right? So we're
Yeah.
looking at around 6 o'clock by the time we actually make it to the SSI building and then behind it. Mooney, you're able to drive up to the SSI building and kind of park in between the building and the Arasaka warehouse I mentioned, but you can't really drive out onto the waterfront unless you want to do it for no reason other than to prove that you can. But it would definitely be seen as illegal and a traffic violation, and you might get your car stuck back there because there's stairs and weird kind of like shit.
I mean,
That
that
does
sounds
sound like
like something
Mooney,
Mooney.
Yeah.
He's not even there.
But it's
Mooney?
Mooney's not even there.
I
Look,
didn't-
he's gone.
I didn't get all these.
Oh no, we're
Well,
resting
if you tell Mooney that
Panic.
you can't do something in a car,
No, he's like, I didn't get all these muscles so I could beat people up. I got them so I could flex on these fools. I'm gonna drive this car, baby. I'm gonna put it in the water. I don't give a shit. No, but safety
Don't put the car in the
precautions.
water.
He's gonna look at
Right.
Lee. Hey, you upgraded the car to
definitely.
a sub,
And
right?
it's not like he wants to catch flack from Biotechnica by fucking up their car.
Right. It's already got a ding on it. Yeah. So you park. And then everybody kind of gets out of the vehicle. Mooney, if you want to remain in the vehicle to keep it running, you can, unless you want to go and investigate this scene. As
Well- Tove did tell him he was in charge of keeping Letty safe, so he's gonna go with Letty.
Okay. When
He
you
will
come,
keep the car running though.
when you come around the corner, who would be the first person like showing the way?
I assume it would be X since he's the one that knows precisely where it happened.
So the first thing that you catch wind of as you kind of come around the corner is that the place has been kind of cleared of its normal passerbys, and it looks like there are 3 individuals standing near where the transaction happened, where the occurrence, the event happened, and it doesn't take a very smart person to realize that they are trauma team. And just nearby is an AV sitting on the waterfront, like right there, like they moved it in and parked it, and it looks like they are like surveying the area.
Yeah, might want to stay
If-
back.
If you wish to recall yourself, I need a stealth check from you, and everyone else, you don't need to roll anything if you do not desire to continue forward. But I will need at least a stealth check from X.
Yeah, I'm not sure there should be anything to worry about, so
You just
I would
kind
have
of
just been walking full speed, but
okay. So X,
Hey.
you back away quickly, and you kind of warn Letty and the others. Dolly seems to kind of move past you and kind of continue on, like she wasn't that far behind you. But then she kind of stops, seeing that you are taking caution, and kind of slips, like, quietly to the side. But then you watch her kind of move forward, like, with a very kind of stealth, cat-like grace, moving into a position in a small little alcove on the side wall of the back end of the building. So she kind of slips into this concrete, and just at the moment you think she's done for, you see the heads of the trauma team kind of moving up in that direction. Is the second she just kind of like flattens herself back to the wall and just kind of vanishes. Redtail, you're not able to move far forward. You kind of stumble forward a bit, and then like X kind of pushes you back, and the two of you kind of easily kind of get back to where you started, but you're not able to kind of gain ground like she was able to. So Dolly, you're in a very unique position as you're within earshot of the trauma team reps here. So it looks like there are 2 individuals who are dressed in paramedic door gunner garb. And if you're not familiar with that, basically imagine like heavy armor, okay? Very kind of mechanical looking helmets with huge optical sensors, which are hard to bypass, but great job doing that. And then the 2 of them have what are known as Kang Tao smart guns, submachine guns that are like very high velocity and have the capability of firing at targets around corners because the bullets are like little micro missiles. The third individual that's present with them, strangely, Social Security insurance. No.
I'm sorry. Also, little paw.
The little foot.
Oh yeah. They again.
She has a question.
If you saw
Yeah.
if you saw the picture,
Oh, I did.
yeah, that's
Oh,
how
I gotta look.
she's just laying with her belly up in the air, and she's like, every time I reach down to like pet her belly, she just like grabs a hold of my hand and goes.
Oh,
Oh,
what a
baby.
sweet little precious.
She's the preciousest precious. She's so precious. Focusing up. So the third person doesn't appear to be someone that's dressed for this kind of operation. He's wearing a very neat-looking corpo suit. It doesn't look like there are any markers or colors or indicators that he is a member of Biotechnica or anything of the sort. And if you've ever played the game Half-Life, and you know what the G-Man looks like, you know exactly what this guy looks like.
Suspicious.
And then it doesn't sound like it's anyone that she would recognize.
No, certainly not. The two gunners are kind of moving about the space, and one of them says, area secured. No signs of the hit individual. And again, this is just for you, Dolly, by the way. You're the only one who was able to hear this, unless anybody wants to just start rushing forward. But also keep in mind, Dolly, you were able to see the three individuals rather neatly. The AV is very much visible to everybody, and you're aware that there is a trauma team AV. For those who are not terribly familiar with Cyberpunk world, the trauma team AV6 has two chain guns on the front, high velocity, high caliber ammunition, and then the door gunner role is filled by an individual who sits on a pintle-mounted Tsunami Arms Helix, which is a chain gun, but instead of shooting bullets, it shoots shotgun shells or slugs,
Nice.
depending on the desired outcome of the door gunner. Very quick change mount situation. Anywho, they say what they say, and you hear the very creepy-looking corpo guy go, good. Very good. I don't believe that our sniper has been caught yet. Of course not, no. I believe they're tailing another individual, someone entirely different and unrelated to the matter. Excellent. Good. Well, it seems that she has left a little bit of evidence here on the ground, not terribly conducive to her remaining secret. However, the powers that be are not interested in letting her be known yet. Biotechnica's sins will be brought to light in time. Do we have a location that she was headed? Southbound. Vehicle was Biotechnica's, a Chevelon Thrax. Do we have any other information? License plate? Any notable abnormalities? No. Not yet. We'll have counter intel move on it. Hopefully we can find out where they were headed, and we can get sat-nav to determine their location. May require a couple of hours. I do not have a couple of hours. We've already wasted a lot of time just securing this position. Arasaka's interference has been most annoying. If this is all we've got, clean it up and move out. I'll be in the AV. Stands up, kind of cracks his knuckles, and then heads back into the AV. They seem to be kind of collecting the blood sample that's been kind of washed quite heavily away by the rain, but they seem to be kind of giving it a thorough cleaning in the time that you're there. After about 5 minutes or so, though, after that conversation, they board the AV. The AV side lifts off of the space over the balustrades and heads up into the sky, heading north towards Trauma Team's center, which is, if we're looking at the map, very easy to tell. It's a big ass fucking hospital right there in Watson, yeah, it's where most important trauma team shit happens. It's not the only trauma team hospital in Night City. There's several. It's just the one, right? It's so big, it actually has NCART like thoroughfares through it. So like if you wanted to take a subway, you could take it right to trauma if you wanted to. Anywho, after that moment passes and you folks hear the AV lift off and move away, they don't seem to catch you like hanging out or anything. They just kind of go on about their way. But Dolly, you're like pinned to the wall. We're watching the whole situation from like a solid snake position, and then you regroup.
Impressive. I thought you were done for.
Well, you know, gotta be light on my toes with the dances and whatnot.
Who is she?
Please do not run off without crown. We do not want to lose you.
You'll be fine.
Well, I
So,
guess.
My fucking job.
I guess that answers whether or not they were involved.
Oh
I
yeah.
figured the trauma team would be.
This is a very important distinction, and I'm only going to allow Dolly to roll it. Make a human perception check.
so I'm sorry, what was said?
Having
Yeah.
Dolly roll.
Hold on.
Human perception. Sorry, that's not the right one.
Oh.
It's under Soch.
Oh, gotcha.
I think it would be the same.
She might be better at it, or worse at it.
I'm worse at this one.
So you rolled a 6, you rolled an 8 on the second one, so it actually would be depreciated. You're not sure if there was a kind of like ownership of the sniper. So there's this kind of like you're kind of like questioning the way he said it. He said our sniper, but he didn't say like our asset. It's kind of like he was like referring to them like, you know, like he's hunting for that person, or he's saying that he is their sniper, like he's a trauma team sniper. You're not sure. It just sounds like if he had known this was happening, he wouldn't have arrived on the scene 4 hours late.
So she's still kind of like trying to piece together like bits of info that are floating around this group, and she's not entirely sure if this is like a connected thing or if it's just some random like shit that happens in Night City. So she's just gonna say like, yeah, that was kind of interesting. They were, and just like tell them what they were talking about.
Okay. And yeah, you'd also have seen them. They wouldn't have been able to see because if they'd come around the corner, they would have been boned. But they would have, or you would have seen that they kind of collected all DNA evidence that she was present. Nina is apparently important enough for that kind of treatment. And again, another confusing matter because to you she's just some team member for Letty. Why is she so important?
You guys really got wrapped up in something big, huh?
Corpos.
I hear that.
Corporations do run the city.
And ruin lives.
You said it.
So does the street, but nobody complains about that. In the same way.
Ooh,
Yeah, but it rolls-
that's pretty
it
slick.
rolls downhill.
Needed that distinction. Okay, so as you kind of survey the area, Crown, with the evidence kind of removed, the blood splatter, everything kind of just taken away, right? You do see that they left one piece, because it's, again, threat detection, perception, eye. You are able to catch one thing that's kind of out of the ordinary for you, and out of the ordinary for the space. On the wall, near where Dolly was, there is a very small hole. And when you go over and check out the concrete and fish it out, you realize that the round that was shot through Nina appears to have been buried in the concrete wall. You're able to fish it out with like your knife, your karambit. You kind of reach it in, kind of like pull on the lead or pull on the material. It's not lead; it's a little bit heavier than that. Yeah, you do come to realize that it is a long stock piece of depleted uranium. So it doesn't break or fracture. Instead, it hits with such impact it just forces everything around it out, which explains the broken ribs, explains all of that.
Yeesh.
You see where the round hit. You're able to trace exactly where it came from, and from what you can tell, and I'm going to go ahead and zoom us out for a little bit here, and this will probably be the end for the night. We got there a little quicker than I was expecting. But you're able to tell the round traveled much further than you think any rifle in your mind has ever had the right to shoot.
So he's gonna, with the round in hand, he's gonna sort of, like hold it like this, and then like towards the Kopeki Plaza, he's gonna say, "Damn, that's pretty far."
Damn.
That's pretty far.
I
all I
want
said.
that one.
And that's a pretty solid ending point for the evening. Thanks for watching those that did.
You're welcome.
We will pick up.
Red Tail's so confused, he's looking at the bullet, looks over your part like, what?
We'll pick up next session, right about there, kind of after that. We'll discuss it in our thread. But we will also, for those who are watching and are interested in more Cyberpunk and different styles of play, on Sunday we will be doing the Interception, which is going to tell the story of a heist happening, led by Hungry, the fixer we mentioned earlier, in the joke that some people were disrespectfully hateful towards.
Disinspiration.
But
X.
yeah, we will be dealing with a very much different style of play. So most people who've played Cyberpunk have dealt with a heist situation, and we're going to see it at what I think is probably going to be its finest with the crew that I've mustered for that game. But yeah, we'll pick up this Rippling Mirrors on Friday next week. Sunday, we'll pick up with The Interception. And on Tuesday, we have All Eyes on You, which will be the story regarding El Mano. And obviously, there's some overlap there. And some mentioned overlap with The Interception as well. All right. See you then.
Bye.